well, shit, how do I edit this now? Because there's got to be some kind of visual. So I was like, okay, I need to record a couple more of these before I post Christopher York's. So if there's nothing there, or if it's just like, have you ever seen Faux Retro's dumpy emote of Gav?
Yeah.
I might just put that there, honestly, because like I'm like, I have to have something, but like, yeah, we've only done one with Ben, and that's almost been a year now, which is weird.
That is weird.
That
Yeah.
was great, by the way.
It
Ben
was
was such a joy to talk to. He's like
very
he's
bubbly.
unreal.
Very
just
bubbly.
and
so
he's an internet superstar. It's still like weird to me to think that
Yeah, no one knew who he was then yet. Like it was so early.
yeah. So now I'm like, well, shoot. I don't think I could ever get him to record in that capacity again.
I'm sure
Maybe.
he would. I'm sure he would. I
I'm
think
gonna
he likes being in the spotlight. Like
he's
you
on
know?
that. Hi, Evander.
Kitty.
He's in here like me. You going in your house, bud?
That's so cute.
You said
named him.
you're doing
I
a
almost
thing.
named him. I think I'm doing a panel at PAX with Ben.
Oh, we'll see. That's
So
Nice.
I'll be talking to him so I could ask him. I'm asking him to do something for me on my channel for April, so I could ask him about that.
Yeah, I'd love to do a revisit. He also owes me a conversation post FF16 about everything. And now I'm like, well, I probably have to play the game again. I don't remember anything.
I know 16 didn't stick with me for story.
Ooh, yeah, that's okay. Actually, I mean, like, yeah.
I liked it. I it's like A tier for me. It's just not
What's under A?
B.
Yeah, B.
So mine's B for 16.
Yeah, it's about it's B for me too.
It's like a low A, B.
Easy. It wasn't like I don't know, it was different. Like it's a game that I'll play only once or twice in my life. That's
Yeah,
it.
I won't revisit it.
Like Crisis Core. Like I love
Yeah.
Crisis Core, but it's too emotional, you know, and it's just like that's it. One or two and
Yeah.
one of my favorites.
It's
But
not like I can go back and play it every year the way that 6 is and the way that
right?
Oh my god. I think you saw this. My sister sent me this. Isn't
That's
it so cute?
pretty.
Because my sister, this is the theme that I like. I walked
That's
into
adorable.
my sister's room when I was a kid and saw her playing this, and I was like, "What is that?" It's like a book, and that's how I fell in love with Final Fantasy. So she sent me
That's why
this.
he turns paladin, right?
Yeah.
He turns into a paladin.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
And I was like, so
that
it
is
lives on my desk now.
beautiful. That is beautiful.
Hold on. Okay, I'm ready to record.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Well, we are.
Oh, sorry, I just got excited.
Oh, I've been recording.
Oh,
we're good.
I didn't know we were ready. Okay,
yeah,
I'm recording now, so you have the backing audio.
Well, hey, that's actually that's a nice little start. That's actually my dog.
Dogs and
What?
cats.
Yeah.
Oh, there. Okay, now I see. I'm like Kitty.
She's very
my dog too. Okay.
My Torgal's supposed to arrive, and it hasn't yet.
I got both of mine. My big one is upstairs, but my little one looks like he's kind of had an accident.
So cute.
I did not get the
mine's
big
up
one.
there. Somewhere. Can't see it.
I didn't
He
get
was
the
with
big
me
one.
when I panic ordered this while we were at the 16 event.
Oh yeah.
Now
I remember.
I'm ordering it right now.
I remember.
Wow. But yes, okay, I'm ready. If you want to, I don't know, what are we doing? Intros? I don't know how anything works.
Well, you know what? Listen, I think we actually kind of already had an intro, oddly enough. I don't know. I'm not like super planned on this thing. I wrote these questions today. I go with the flow.
Vibe with it.
Way back, me and my friend Elle. You got to meet Elle at
yes,
FanFest.
FanFest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did this podcast called Twitch Stuff. It was actually Twitch shit, but just to be like, okay, we called it stuff. And we would just bring on other creators and kind of talk about the things that we encounter on Twitch. And there's a lot of it, like being a creator in this space is not what it looks like on social media all the time. And so, you're somebody I look up to so much, just in this, like, always. Yes, you.
Yes, you.
No,
who else? I mean, I look up to D too.
Both of you. Are you kidding me?
Well, okay, it's so funny how that works, right? But like, No, even when I was like a little baby creator, I just would always remember seeing your posts and I'd be like, "Oh wow, Yuna seems really cool."
Nice.
And it still baffles me that I get this opportunity to sit here and talk with two other women who are, closer in age to me that like the same thing as me because growing up I didn't have that. There's like
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
one girl.
Yeah.
She smelled bad.
The tea is coming out already. Oh my god.
I like the tea.
Hopefully
It was
she never
stinky.
hopefully she never sees this, but like,
Oh my god. It's
what if
great.
she does? It's okay. I'm sorry. I mean, it wasn't like we hung
She leaves
out.
you a hate. She might leave you a hate comment.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hate comments are still engagement.
That's
Oh,
true.
hate comments. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're big nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially with 7 right now.
Oh my god.
Mhm.
Don't let the shippers find me.
Oh
They're
my god.
scary.
Nope, nope.
They're so scary.
Don't summon them. But no, I've always looked up to you, and I looked up to D as well. Like, D followed me before I became a partnered streamer, and like would lurk around and just like she has this little creepy emote, and I'd be like, oh
I lurk everywhere. I'm not a big chatter on Twitch.
no, it depends
But
on my mood.
B is so good as a content creator that when B hit partner, I thought B was partnered the whole time. So everyone was like, "Oh yeah, congrats on partner." I'm like, "What are you talking about? B's been a partner forever." And you were like, "No, I just got it yesterday." It's like, oh my god, I
Yeah, I
had no idea.
remember that. Thank you.
I
Yeah.
remember I think I followed D first. It had to be a Final Fantasy post, and I'm like, I'm gonna follow this girl. Like it was, I
I
don't know where it
died.
was,
I
and
remember
it must
dying when
have
it
been,
happened.
and B was because of that Crisis. No, it was not Crisis. Sorry, remake post, the
Yeah,
mod
the
with
nipple.
the nipple,
Yeah, the
and I'm
nipple.
like, I like this girl. I'm gonna
Iconic.
follow her.
Iconic.
I still don't understand why that post went viral. Like
Because it's funny.
it
It was really
It's
I
funny.
guess so.
funny.
I guess
You're
so.
putting a pin through his chest, his
It
skin.
was very funny.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is hilarious. I was like, I like funny stuff like that. It was
I
good.
owe Elle for that. Elle was like, post that on Twitter. It's gonna go viral. I was like, no, it won't.
It
It did.
did.
It did. Yeah, it did. And now even sometimes randomly, like every 2 weeks, someone will retweet it and I'll be like, no, it's gonna happen again. So it probably will when Rebirth comes out.
Yes, let
Yeah.
it.
It'll get another life.
I
Yeah.
would retweet it when it's
I
that
would
time.
repost that on TikTok every
Yeah.
week.
I do.
Yeah, I would
Find
too.
that.
It never picks up on TikTok, surprisingly. When I
TikTok's a
made
mystery.
I turned Tifa into Lulu. That made people interested for some reason. I don't.
Hmm,
Maybe it's all about Tifa.
the
But
ultimate waifus.
imagine what that cutscene would have been if it was Tifa instead of Zack. Not that she'd be shirtless. Never mind. She wouldn't be. That'd be inappropriate.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
right through
That
the
would be
nipple.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good video. I love it.
I mean, you just never know what kind of shenanery is going to go viral in the Final Fantasy community.
No, and it feels like a lot of people. I will say I do it too, but I've always been a meme maker. But it feels like there's a lot of people out there now who are just constantly like, "Ooh, how can I? What's the next big thing that I can do to make happen to like
Yeah.
blow up on Final Fantasy Twitter?" And I'm like,
Mm.
I'm living for all the memes that exist now. There's a
Your
lot of.
memes are top tier, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
good.
these are
They're
good.
good.
I'm going to shout
Mhm.
out Harpsiboard though, because I think that she's an excellent memer and
Yeah.
also a talented harp player. But actually,
Mhm. Very good music.
yes. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's interesting in seeing, like, I feel like until the past 2 years, I never really saw that many people who are interested in Final Fantasy. And I don't know if that's like a direct effect of the success of Final Fantasy
Mhm.
VII, the
Mhm.
hype of 16 coming out. I don't know what it is. It's kind of baffled me.
I have a theory. I've seen, like, obviously with Twitch used to have a much smaller pool of streamers. I think all the three of us have been around for a while. Um, And now that there was this big influx of people in that kind of 2018, like once Twitch had affiliate status, that kind of brought a lot of people into streaming that hadn't been. And then the pandemic just kind of brought another wave. And I think a lot of people saw a lot of success playing through the series, especially when
Mm,
like the Pixel remasters
Pixel
made it very
remasters.
accessible.
Yeah.
People were like, I'm going to play all the Final Fantasy games for the first time, or not even the first time, but some people were just like, I'm doing this. And I think a lot of people saw a lot of success with it. So that just makes people, and as is like in streaming spaces in general, go, okay, well, if someone had success with it, then maybe I will. And I think some of it is just genuine interest and not like I want to grow and be the next big streamer, but I do think some of it is like, "Oh, people are having success with this, I'll try this too." Then
Yeah.
a mixture of that versus like, "Hey, this seems really cool. All these people are talking about it. I wanna be able to talk with it too." I think it's a mixture of like desiring success and then also just wanting to be in the club.
Yeah.
It
The 2
Especially
helps.
cents.
with like especially with like the Pixel remasters because they're so old school and there's people
Mhm.
that are like not familiar with any of the old school Final Fantasies. So it's nice, like the
Yeah.
younger generation, like they're not like 40 boomers like me where it's just like, you grew up with that stuff, but then other people grew up with like playing Final Fantasy 13 for the first time.
Yeah.
Now
I'm
hold
more
You know
on
what I
though.
mean?
consider.
You're not
So it's nice.
you're not a farty boomer. I just want to
Yeah,
say
you're
that.
Oh,
not.
I just a boomer.
But
A farty maybe, but
I feel like a
it's
farty boomer whenever somebody comes into my chat and they're like, "You said FF2. Do you mean the Super Nintendo one or do
Oh
you
my gosh,
mean?"
I
And I'm
know.
like, "Shut up. It has been Final Fantasy 4 in the US now for over 20 something years. Chill your
I
dick.
know.
Chill out."
Yeah, you do need to stop, or they tell you, like, you don't know. Like, "Did
Yeah.
you know?" It's like, "Bruh, I played it when it was out. Of course I knew."
bruh,
Yeah.
lamb,
I was
bruh.
like, they have released the actual FF2 now like 3 different times in the
I
United
Yeah,
know.
States.
yeah,
I
yeah.
It's
still get bitter, though, with the back in my day. I'm like, I had to import things from Japan. I
mhm.
had to
Huh?
get weird plugs for my wall, and I didn't speak Japanese, and I had to get magazines to try to learn to translate the
Yep.
old games that weren't accessible here. Like, how do you think I played Final Fantasy 3? Okay? And I see now people like, "Oh, I'm gonna play it with the Pixel remaster." I'm like, "You only knew what I went through to
Yeah,
play
the
that game for the
struggles.
first time." Ugh. But I'm happy. I'm happy that they're accessible. It's a good thing. I'm just
No, it
bitter
is.
because childhood D had to work so hard to play Final Fantasy 3.
No, it's nice. It's a luxury so many
Yeah.
have. Anyways, that's just one of the things. Like, this whole thing has just been me wanting to connect with other streamers that play
Mhm.
Final Fantasy. But not only that, like, I mean, Ben, I swear that guy could go live on Twitch. He'd probably blow up.
Oh my
Oh,
god, he
yeah,
would.
He would.
100%.
But, also the voice actors and stuff, and I think that that was such a great person to talk to and start off with because of how much he knew. Like,
Yeah.
there were
Mhm.
things that I was like, "Wow, wait, this guy really is a gamer. Holy
Oh my god,
crap.
yeah.
The
Wow."
He's
RPGs that he tweets about too,
Mhm.
like, from
yeah.
back in the day, I'm like, "Damn, like, he knows his shit."
Yeah, I'm like, "How does he
Yeah.
have time?"
I don't know. He's a real but he's been like a fan of the series for so many years like us too. So like that's a
Yeah.
he's really easy to talk to in that way because he's just so enthusiastic about these games, you know?
Mhm,
That's true.
mhm.
So I'm gonna start it off with a question, and that is, what was your introduction to Final Fantasy?
Uh, my brother introduced me to Final Fantasy when I was really young. So I remember watching him playing Final Fantasy. My brother Coco, that's his name. He and my other two brothers obviously played video games with them too. And I watched them play Final Fantasy and Dragon Warrior. Those were the two top like RPGs or JRPGs, whatever what you want to call them. And I was like so fascinated with like the fantasy world. So I was like, I really want to know this, but I'm not old enough to play really. Well, I mean kind
Mhm.
of, but I want to watch. So the more I watched him play video games on Nintendo, it just I don't know. I began being like I want to play Final Fantasy like when I'm older. I want to be able to play this game and, you know, just have fun and it just reminds me of family. So
Mhm.
like that's the whole meaning behind Final Fantasy to me is that one time that I watched them play Final Fantasy, it just became a big family meaning to me. So
Aw.
yeah, that's why I collect it all.
That makes sense.
I can't get rid of one thing. So I'm like, if I get rid of one thing, it's like family, right? Like I
Mhm.
can't. It's so odd. I don't know. I
That's
picked
not
the most
odd to me.
like
No, it's not.
expensive hobby.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
That it's I can't imagine. And you've
Um,
yeah,
moved, like,
yeah.
several
several.
times.
I'd be
Yeah,
so stressed.
yeah. It's like the first time I moved, I bubble wrapped everything carefully. The other times I moved, back to back, I'm just like kind of bubble wrapping it. This last move, I was like throwing it all in boxes. Like I don't care. I mean, I do care, but I was still safe with it. But
Um,
yeah,
Yeah.
without
how
my
old were you?
brothers, I don't think I'd play games.
How old were you?
Oh God. When I first started watching them play Final Fantasy and Dragon Warrior. When did Dragon Warrior come out? I think Dragon Warrior was before Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think so.
Yes. That's
I
like
think I was like
80 is that
7?
87? Yeah, it's
87 was
7
Final
or 8?
Fantasy.
Yeah. But when like the whole North American release, was that 87 as well? I think it was.
got localized in we have the strength of Google.
No, that's
Yeah.
true.
I think I was like 7 cuz yeah,
Let's see.
7 or yeah,
It
rough I think I'd say 7 or 8.
it's funny because, like, my introduction as well was family. My dad played, um he played at D&D, but then also, he got into playing Super Nintendo and NES games,
That's
and
so
he didn't
nice.
he didn't have, Final Fantasy, but he did on the NES, like, he didn't get the original, so I only would play the games he had.
Yeah.
And, he got Final Fantasy 2, 4
Yeah.
for anybody in the comments that's gonna
This one.
yes, that one. Exactly, it says 4 right there, okay?
It does say 4 right on it.
Yeah.
So, I would watch him, play through games, and I didn't really know much of what was happening when he was playing it, I just thought it was
Yeah.
cool, and there were a lot of kids in 4. And I thought that was like, "Oh, wow." And then a little game called Secret of Mana came out, and
Yes.
you could play that multiplayer. So I was
Yeah.
3 and a half playing that with him, and it's weird to, like, look at my
Wow.
own kids and think, "Wow, we were built different back then." But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I was just mashing buttons. Like, coherently remember playing it, though. Like, the
Crazy. That's
different
so cool.
bits of it and stuff, and that
Yeah.
like, that just I was bit by the Squaresoft bug. I just wanted
Yeah.
to inject it in me and, like, you know how when you turn it on, you hear the whale noises and stuff? Like, that
Mhm.
is Square to
Dun,
me.
dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun.
They should
Like the music.
they should just make that be the thing. If we don't see that in Visions of Mana, by the way,
Mm,
I hope they do some sort of nostalgia.
the whale thing would make me probably
Yeah.
yeah.
poo a little bit.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, oh, well, yeah, I
Also to
mean
confirm, just to not to go back to this, but Dragon Warrior was released in North America, localized in '89. So
oh,
it came to us
Oh.
it
that's
came to us
my
in '89.
age.
Same.
So that's why I feel like that's why Dragon Warrior is more like I see it more in my head
Mhm.
rather than original Final Fantasy because that was like I was young. But like
Yeah.
I didn't play, I just watched them, right? But then after as I got older, I started playing their games and using their consoles. So like, you know, it's how you learn.
Yeah.
It's interesting the family thing because to me, my goal of my stream is to be the friend playing a game with a bunch of friends on the couch behind me, and that feels like such a family-oriented
That's
thing.
cool.
Yeah.
Family friendly, like oh, I don't know about family friendly in my streams, but
Well, yeah, I don't know.
I was
fam,
gonna say not
fam well,
me.
Let's
like
talk
a
about
family,
mhm,
you know, safe environment, people that feel safe to chat in and talk about stuff and vent, like little things like that.
mhm.
Mhm.
That's what I like. It's like family. Not
Yeah,
blood related, but we all share a lot of interests, so
true. Dee, where did you I think you started similar to me, right?
With Final Fantasy,
Yep.
mm,
I saw my sister. I was a kid who loved to read. I was, like, way advanced in my reading level, and I was
Mm.
obsessed with books. We had every video game console, but they never hit with me, like Atari, NES, like, we had it all. I was like, "Oh, I don't really like this." My sister was a gamer, and one
Mhm.
day I went into her room, and I saw her playing Final Fantasy IV, and I was like, "This is like a book, but it's a video game." Like, it
Mhm.
just completely, and I saw, like, Cecil's journey, and, even as a young kid, I was able to understand what was happening,
Yeah.
and to this day, that's still my favorite Final Fantasy to introduce people to the series to because of how it has that, like, story arc, and it's kinda easy to follow, and the mechanics aren't too much. Like, as a kid, I got through it.
Yep.
Mhm.
And yeah, and then that was when I was like, "I need to see the first one." And even though that was different, I loved how open-ended it was, and I could make my own
Mhm.
stories, and then I
Yep.
played every single one as they came out after that, and now I have a problem
Yeah.
as well.
It
Right?
always frustrated me as a kid because people would be like, "Oh, well, video games, they're bad for you." And I'm like, I learned how to read off of playing Final
Right.
Fantasy IV.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
I also excelled at reading and writing, and my teachers would always be like, "I don't get it. What did you do?" And I did read a lot of books, to be fair. I was an avid reader, but I 100% believe that it was Final Fantasy that made me
Yeah.
like that. And I'm like, well, let's consider that maybe video games aren't too bad, especially
Yeah.
Mhm.
that era. It forced you to
Mhm.
use your imagination so much more, and it's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
I think as an Armenian too, Armenian was my first language. So, my parents coming from Lebanon and my brothers playing all these video games, that was a good introduction to English and like learning new words. Even to this day, my chat still helps me with words. Like I don't know what all these words mean in JRPGs, so they just help me.
Yeah.
So I feel like it really helped with my English growing up. Yeah.
I agree.
That's really, yeah, I wouldn't, like, that's a really cool perspective too, because
Mhm.
I never thought of that, obviously, because I'm a native English speaker, but yeah, that's, like, an awesome way to, like, expand that. That's cool.
Yeah. Your vocabulary.
Yeah. Do you have, like, a specific memory that sticks out to you
Yes,
playing the
I do.
games and, like, yeah.
I say this to my chat, and there's the Final Fantasy 4 and Final Fantasy 6, which were 2 and 3 in North America.
You're gonna
Mhm.
go back to this whole time.
So, yeah, playing on a black and white TV in my mom's kitchen, like, in the kitchen. So, like, my brothers had these, bigger TVs, and they didn't let me in the rooms all the time, but they lent me, like, the consoles, like Super Nintendo. So I would take the console, plug it into the black and white 13-inch big well, big CRT looking thing,
Mhm.
and play Final Fantasy 4 and 6 on there. Black and white. Imagine going into the factory and like this is the biggest memory in Final Fantasy 6. The factory, because it's so black and white,
Yeah,
kind of. You can't even see like the treasure chests and stuff. Like the coloring. Like it's just so odd. And that's the biggest memory I have.
I love that.
Black and white TV.
That's just something that can't really happen now unless
No.
you really, really
No.
force it, you know? So it's, like,
Yeah.
really, that's really special.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Don't let my kids know, because they asked me when I was playing the Super Mario RPG remake if
Mm.
I played the original on black and white TVs, and I was like, "No, unless I plugged it in wrong."
Ah.
Like, I'm not
Aw.
Uh,
yeah, but it's
Well, like, we had color TVs, it's just the one that my mom had, because that's where
right.
she cooked and watched her soap operas, that, when she wasn't watching her soap operas, I could play on that TV and play in the kitchen.
I need to
So,
do that. I need to get a TV in my kitchen. I feel like that's the thing I'm missing to, like,
yeah.
feel at home in my kitchen is just a little
"Hey,
TV.
SNES!" Sorry.
Yeah. It feels like you could get them back
Yes.
there.
I
Mm.
mean, I have ways
True.
to
Oh,
get 'em.
yeah, true. No, it's fine. Um, do you have a very
What's your guys'
cherished
memories? Yeah.
I It's so strange, but I remember, it's funny because I always say this game isn't one of it's not in my top like 5 favorite Final Fantasies, and people always get mad at me, but it was actually Final Fantasy VII when I was playing through it for the first time, and to this day, I cannot go to Cosmo Canyon and, like, enter that initial entrance cutscene, like, look at this beautiful area, hear that song without sobbing, because it
Mhm.
brings me back to my childhood playing through that for the first time and going there and without spoilers, going through all of Red's little arc there
Yeah.
and how it was so relevant to things I was feeling as a kid at the time about a person in my life and
Mhm.
how, oh my gosh, like maybe I don't like I had just been going through this epiphany with someone really important in my life and learned so much about them and understood their behavior suddenly and my whole perspective had changed. And it's literally step by step like what Red had gone through. And I never
Mhm.
felt so seen in my life by a game, even though I was quite young at the time.
Yeah.
So it just was the weirdest like art imitates life kind of thing. And it was that whole week, my whole like perspective on so many things changed in this game kind of held my hand through that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I've never had another moment in a game like that. So that particular like I know it's not necessarily a core memory, but it's that week in time I feel like is frozen forever as like a very formidable experience in my life that will always make 7 really really special to me because
Mhm.
it was a like a forced perspective shift sort of moment.
It's a memory. So like those things stick to you, you know?
Yeah. Although last time I played it, I didn't cry, so I was proud I finally got through it without sobbing. So that said,
It's
I was very distracted, but it's fine.
Rebirth will probably make it happen because seeing it. I'm
yeah.
prepared. I'm very prepared for
I'm
that.
I'm not, and
I'm
I
not
should
either. I
be.
don't yeah. There's gonna
Uh,
be a lot of surprises, I think, that's for sure.
I'm just gonna sob uncontrollably. It'll be fine.
I'm
Dude, I
look.
just played through the Aerith scene in the
Oh
in
yeah,
Tuna mods. I'm like, "Ugh," and I'm
yeah.
like it's just it's exactly like it's one of those scenes that just like sticks to you because growing up like that affected you when you're
Yeah,
Mhm.
young. Like I was what 16 when I played that, and then when it came out, and I'm like playing this, and I'm like, oh,
I had
yeah.
a similar effect
that's
with
deep.
Palom Emporum. I don't know why no one else in
Yes.
like Tella's passing, it didn't bother me. Palom Emporum, they're not even in your party that long, but like,
That wrecked me.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
for kids.
And that also the experience of having those things happen in 4 and even the some stuff that happens in 6, like, and 5, like, going into 7 and having that scene happen, I was like, "Oh, no. She'll come back." Like, I just was not
They'll use a
I didn't
Phoenix
believe
Down.
it. I I didn't believe it just because the previous games, I'm like, "No, they're not gonna get me again."
Yeah,
But this 7 hit different. They went a
yeah.
different path.
It's funny because that's my core memory is I was really excited. I got it and I was in second grade. I recently
Mhm.
had somebody on TikTok while I was playing 7 say, "There's no way you played and beat this game when you were that young." And I was like, "I beat Final Fantasy 4 on the Super Nintendo when I was 6. We were built
Right.
different when we were kids.
Yeah,
What was I
we
gonna
were
do?
built different.
It's
Sit with my
different back then.
thoughts? Or wait, like or like what do you think I was doing back then? Yeah, of course I was able to figure out how to beat a video game. I don't It's
Mhm.
not weird, but yeah, there were a couple of boys who had also gotten the game, and looking back, we were probably a little too young for it, but there was this one kid who told me the spoiler of FF7, and I remember being so upset because I loved her. And
Mhm.
I was, like, really
Yeah.
excited, but, I mean, it still hit hard when it happened, and it was just such a, like I think for me, a lot of my, like, key core memories attached to the series are heavily tied to music from the
Mm.
different games, and just, like, how it transports me back to that time. Kinda
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
with, like, Cosmo Canyon's theme, it kinda does that for me, where I remember it was summer 1998 for me that I was playing through
Yeah.
that segment of the game, and I think that that's just, like, such a powerful ability to be
Yeah.
able to feel that kind of thing. But screw that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, screw
I hope
him.
he steps on a Lego right now.
Oof, yeah,
He asked me to prom, and I said no.
Oh my god, we're getting so much B tea
Yeah, I
I
today.
know.
love
Smelly
this.
friend.
I
Yeah,
He
love
asked
this.
prom date.
yeah, no.
Damn.
I
I
mean,
think I think games now too have different meanings too.
Yeah.
Like especially with all the things that happen in your life. Like Final Fantasy 4 hits so much harder now because in the end he's like goodbye my brother, and my brother passed away last year. So now when I think of that, it's like 10 times more
Yeah.
impactful cuz you're like
Yeah.
like it's crazy. And then all these JRPGs you're playing, for me it's just like the mom passes away. It's always
Yeah.
about the mom, by the way.
oh
It's always
yeah.
Yeah.
about the mom. So
Yeah.
now it just hits, and now those memories are going to be in your head too when you're like 20 years into the future and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, back then that really sticks out because this and this happened. And yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
that's my favorite thing about this series is that as I've gotten older and I've replayed them several times, like they've taken new meaning and I've got learned
Yeah.
to like appreciate certain things and like I really do feel like that those like even the painful life experiences I can go back and have like a greater appreciation for those moments too.
Yeah.
And like I lost my dad last year and like that was
Mhm.
a big thing when I was playing like through a bunch of them right after that happened. Like I was playing 9, which has like a ton of themes of loss and
Yeah.
death and things in it. And I'm like, oh my God, this feels really different now. And this is my favorite game ever made. And I'm feeling different things playing it. It's
Yeah.
bananas. Um Also 9 is just my favorite. Phoebe's my favorite character of all time in anything ever. Ever.
So 9 is your favorite.
Yeah, 9 is
B,
my all-time
what's
favorite.
your favorite, B?
Mine is tactics,
Tactics? Okay, I was going to say tactics, but I'm like, I'm going to
but
ask her anyway.
but people always go, well, that's not really, and I'm like, yeah, it is though. If it's
It is.
if it's a
Fun
mainline
fantasy.
game, it is
Yes.
FF9, and mine is because that's how I met my husband.
Oh.
Yeah, it's through the
Through FF9?
FF9 speedrunning community on Twitch. Yeah.
Oh my, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
We both used to watch. I was a speedrunner, but I say that loosely. Like I completed a run once. I probably shouldn't have, but I was stubborn and I finished it. And yeah, I have a lot of really like important memories tied to watching that game and being surrounded by like really good people. So it's always meaningful for me to be able to play that game.
A lot of meanings to you now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Speedrunner?
Yeah,
Wait, what?
I used to speedrun
What?
Parasite Eve as well.
What?
I'm in
Okay, that's
awe.
cool. That is really cool.
Yeah, I
I've
can't do it
been
now. I don't have a bladder for that.
speedrunning is tough. I've been learning the Mystic Quest speedrun,
Ooh.
and it is like that is one of the shorter ones. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know how you ever did 9.
I don't even know
Um
how you do speedrunning. It's anxiety, isn't it? Like I
It's
can't even.
stressful.
9 is chill. 9 is a lot of
Yeah.
mashing.
Mhm.
I don't know. I didn't get to the part where it got competitive. It was for me just learning it and getting my first PB. And then once I did it, I was like, okay, I can't do this again. That's why I switched
Yeah.
over and did Parasite Eve because that was my favorite game ever. I could sit there and talk about it, just no issue. I knew all of these things anyways. And it was like at the time a 3.5 hour run. Now it's under 3 hours. But I
Wow.
For
like,
Parasite Eve. Wow.
yeah, but I just like, I wish I could. Maybe I could. Maybe once my kids are older, I'll do it. But
I would
Yeah.
love to see that.
there's this curse that we all joke about how every time I would start to get back into it, I'd find out I'm pregnant. So every
Oh.
single time. Yeah. So
And what's one more, kid?
there was a
Yes,
lady
one
tonight
more.
at
One more.
dinner who was like, you guys should have one more child. It'll be a boy. And I was like, ma'am, we tried that. They're all girls. Sorry. We're done. I can't do it anymore. I'm too old. It's geriatric at this point. So,
Wait,
God,
you have
you are
3 kids,
not.
right? Yeah, you're not old. You have 3, right?
no, but it's still labeled geriatric once you're over 34.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you have 3 kids.
But yeah, I have 3.
So you could be like my family. My parents tried so much. They have 3 older brothers, and then they were like, "I don't know if we're gonna have a girl ever." And then they tried. My dad was in his 40s, and they got a girl.
Sness got the snip. And I,
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah. So,
The-
yeah. Well, if you ever
BT
decide,
keeps on
if you
coming.
ever
yeah,
decide,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, listen, it's not a secret he got the snip because I found out 2 weeks later. I was like, I have this feeling. It's very familiar. Wait a second. I'm pregnant. And then Rosie, I found out about Rosie 2 weeks
Oh
after.
my God.
It was wild. So she was the baby that was meant to happen. She's going to do
Yeah.
something good with her life. I mean, they're all great, but the fact that she somehow made that happen, like she
Made it through,
yeah. Mhm.
even through the snip.
I think it happened before. I don't
Oh, maybe before and then
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it was just like right at the right
It's
time.
meant to be.
She's a
Aw,
sweet though.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah, Rosie.
Oh my God. Yes. Obsessed with her.
I know.
Her facial expressions. I will not like those pictures that I took of her from FanFest. She's got facial expressions.
She
It's an actor
does.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, her and Iris are
Cute.
twins.
She's adorable.
So
Oh.
yeah, they well not really twins, but they look the exact
identical.
same. Yeah, when she was born, I was like, that's the same baby.
That's the same kid.
They sound the same. They're like them. Well, they're
Oh.
clones of him, but like, yeah, no. And that's another fun thing is, like, I named her. Well, I named Iris and Ruby after Final Fantasy characters. Ruby is not Ruby Weapon.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, Ruby Weapon?
No, I'm like, I know
No,
what Ruby
it's
you're talking
Ruby
about.
from 9.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, it was
Wait,
a
Iris.
Iris
Which one?
is from 15.
Oh, okay, that's one I
Yeah,
haven't
they
finished.
pronounce it Iris. But
Mhm.
I wanted to always name a baby Violet, and he didn't like that name.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, I want a flower name, but like we had a family dog named Lily, so I wasn't going to name a baby Lily, and I couldn't think of
Yeah.
anything else. And 15 came out the day I found out I was pregnant with Iris.
Wow.
I didn't know she was a girl. I was playing through it, and I remember I texted Sness. I was like, Iris. And he was like, I was thinking of that name too. And I was like, this baby's name's Iris. I don't know that this is a girl. She's a girl. So it worked out. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm loving all this bee lore tonight.
I know, me too.
Sorry.
Things
This
I
is
even don't
supposed to be
No,
about
I'm
you.
genuinely excited.
Speed runner, like all these things. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, I
No.
love this.
This
Yeah.
is awesome.
I mean, that's the thing. Final Fantasy has so many memories attached to it. I also went into labor with Iris while playing Zodiac Age on Twitch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, you went into labor
Mm-hmm.
playing. Oh, wow.
You were live.
Yeah.
That was
I didn't have a camera on because it was like middle of July. It was really hot, and it was the middle of. It was kind of late. It was like 11:30 p.m. So I remember I started getting the feelings. I didn't have any other feelings, and I was like, "Oh, they said that this would suck. This sucks." Well, I guess I'm gonna get offline, and I have it. I like highlighted it, so I have it forever. But I remember being like, well, you know, if I'm back tomorrow, I know I'm gonna be going through this probably for a couple days. That's what everyone says. And then I had her like 6 hours later.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's amazing.
Precious. That's precious.
well, that's a cool
we-
thing that we build all of our cool memories and stuff with this stuff. But
Through
yeah.
a series.
Yeah.
I
Through a
know.
series and video games. Doesn't just have to be Final Fantasy, but like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a lot of video
Yeah.
game memories.
Are there any other games that have like heavily impacted you as well?
Legend of Dragoon.
Yes. Rose
For
Ro
some odd, yes, Rose. I don't know what it is about that game. Like, I don't have like a, oh my god, I love this game because it like there's not like a moment where it's like Final Fantasy 4, like with Palom and Porum, or like, the ending of like him saying goodbye my brother. Like, there's not like a big scene that like impacts me. It's just the game that's so good. And Secret of Mana
Mm.
Mhm.
and Seven Saga
Oh, I've
for
Ooh.
never
Super Nintendo.
played
Because
that.
that is like, I will always forever hear the metal clunking walking sounds in my head and watching my brother, my oldest brother, play. Like, it's just like the weird moments in games that you just pick up.
Mhm.
It's so odd. I don't know.
Yeah.
Random.
Our brains hold on to just little things sometimes.
Yeah. And then you started playing Breath of Fire, and I'm like, oh my god, that is childhood memory right there too. Be like, oh my god, Breath of Fire is so good. Have you started 3?
No, I'm saving it until after Rebirth because
Yeah.
everybody has kept telling me that Breath of Fire 3 is the best game, that I'm going to love it. And I was like, okay, I don't want my like opinion to be clouded by something else going on. So I was like, let's just get 7 out of the way so that I can, go in on that. But oh my god, where is it?
Please show the necklace.
This is so cool that this literally came out. Oh my god, my camera is the
It's
worst.
No,
amazing. Yeah.
Fangamer is legit.
They
Like, the
are.
fact that they still have merch for that is so cool.
It is
Yeah.
beautiful.
And it is. And I hope that it's a sign because I think that it's a series that gets life, for
It's
lack of
gonna
a
stick
better
with you.
word, breathed into it, like the breath of fire. I think I did see that Capcom's trying to like survey and figure out what older titles that people want to see come back. And I'll tell you,
For sure.
there is some love for this game. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I've been trying to do. Like, I've played all the Final Fantasies now. I'm trying to get those games I missed like this. And
Yeah.
there's so much charm to it.
What's yours, D? Like, what other games do you?
I
I guess
I'm
B too. Yeah, like when you were younger.
Dragon Warrior is a big one for me.
Yeah.
I still like to this day, in terms of joy, like when I go through hardships in my life, I do seek out Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest games. So
Yeah.
like for me, like when I lost my dad, like a big one was Dragon Quest 11. Like Echoes of an Elusive Age was my comfort game. I always have I'm surrounded by slimes all the time because they just make me happy. Like, I don't know
Oh,
what it is, like, they're just all over my desk. I have a million slimes, like, it's just
Wait, I don't know if you can see mine. It's right there. It's a hat.
oh yeah.
What is
Look, I can
that?
see the
Oh
little
my gosh,
eyes.
the little eyeballs, yeah. I have, like I don't
Is
know,
that
it's
like a
always
time?
been
Like a,
big.
what are those called? What are they called when
This
with the
one, yeah,
seeds
Outwarders.
inside,
it's
right?
a little timer, sand timer.
Oh.
That is so cute. Look at the
Yeah,
faces.
I have it in 2 colors, I'm obsessed. So that's a big
Oh,
one for me, and then I really love, Lunar, the Silver Star Story.
nice.
Both, like, the Sega CD, the PlayStation versions. I have, like, stuff all over my desk, so I'm, like, grabbing things. It's like show and tell, but, like,
Oh.
this game in particular is, like,
I love
such a
that.
big part of my life, so I always try to keep, like, little memorabilia or little tributes to these games on my desk because
Yeah.
got a lot of Final Fantasy stuff, but those 2, even, like, Eternal Blue, the Lunar games are like, if someone on the internet wanted to destroy me, it would bringing that series back. Just be like, "Oh, here's another Lunar game."
They should remaster them, I feel. I
They sh-
mean,
yes,
yeah, they should.
I
I wouldn't
agree.
make it. I wouldn't survive. I'd be pooing out of my face.
I
It would
It's
know
just
all about
be
the poos.
I know
yeah,
the
the
PSP
poos.
one
Love it.
happened,
Yes,
but I heard it wasn't.
it did.
Yeah,
Yeah, it happened.
it happened. Yeah.
It happened.
And then
Yeah.
oh man, BGG played through. It was like a DS version of it
Mhm.
as well, and he said that he would not recommend anybody play it. So
No,
The DS.
it definitely
Oh,
went through some, um, pains when it started going to other. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just thought of
Um,
another game, Lufia.
Oh, Lufia 2 is one of my all-time favorites.
I haven't
Yes,
played it.
and that's okay. You need to
B!
play Lufia.
Oh my god,
I
please.
will,
Snes just played it
woman.
like a
You
couple
need to.
months ago. He said I need to. Listen,
Yeah,
I
you do.
just did Mystic Quest. I feel like I'm
Yeah, I do
starting
love
to
Mystic Quest.
really get through my Super Nintendo backlog. Like I did Illusion of
Yeah.
Gaia last year, which like incredible.
Terranigma.
I have to play Terranigma and Soul Blazer still.
Oh, I love them.
I did Earthbound the year before that, which amazing. I always
Yeah.
wanted to play it. And now Breath of Fire. So yeah, I gotta play Lufia too. And my husband just played it on stream like back around Christmas time, and he liked it a lot too. And he's like, "You need to
Yes,
play it." So
it will affect you, and that's why I brought it up because you're talking about the DS, and there's a DS version of Lufia, and bleh. So
um,
yes, play Lufia. You can even start with the second one.
okay,
Okay, it's a good one or two, but I feel like two will really make you suck you like into the series.
Yeah.
I like the
They're really
ancient
good.
cave concept because that's all I
Mhm.
knew about it. For a long time, I would see speedrunners doing ancient cave runs, and I would be like, "Oh, that's cool. Okay, yeah." And he got sucked into it too.
It's so good. You'll love that. That'll be fun. And everyone that watches you play it will. There's a lot of joy.
Yes,
There's a lot of joy there.
100%. Yeah.
I would say though for me, my game, well, Secret of Mana, I already brought that up, but Parasite Eve was
Yeah.
like huge on me. I feel like it imprinted on my brain. Like the music, the atmosphere, just like strong badass women. It was just for me, it was just everything I ever wanted in a game. And then Parasite Eve 2 came out and I wasn't very good at that style, but it also kind of left an effect on me too cuz I was obsessed. I was like, I want to beat this game. I want to know what happens. And I didn't beat it until I was much older. It was on stream. I will probably never be able to beat that game again. It's very difficult for me, but that series, and then the other one was Saga Frontier. I randomly I like randomly picked it up at one of our local like game shops. It was $11. And yeah, I was like, what is Saga Frontier? And it was a Squaresoft game. So I was like, okay, well, I know what I'm getting myself into. And it's such a weird and unique vibe. I don't know how to describe it. And it's like you get, I think it's 8 individual characters with different stories and some of them cross over. It doesn't give you a lot of direction, but like I remember being 12 and just being obsessed with trying to figure out the different ways to navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've never played that series. I have it, but I've never.
did you ever
I should try
play
it one day.
Final Fantasy Legend?
I did.
The birth of it.
Yeah, Saga kind of came out of that. So it was like Final Fantasy 2, then Legend, and then the Saga series basically came from that. There's like Romancing Saga, which I've never played those. Those are a backlog game for me. And then Saga Frontier 1 and 2. And then there's a couple other Saga games. And then there's a new one coming out, I think, next month. It's like Emeralds. Yeah. I'm really excited for that one because the characters that they have shown are actually like super diverse.
Yeah.
So
it's cool to be seeing more of that in games in general, especially from franchises like this.
Even just, well, you haven't played the demo, and I'm not going to like comment much on the actual demo itself, but with the new demo that came out, there's a little bit of an exploration area. And I was really impressed with the diversity in that town. So I just
What's the combat like? Is it turn-based or is it just
for Saga Frontier, yeah, it's turn-based.
It's kind of okay.
Yeah. They just did a remaster for it like 2 or 3 years ago. I'm pretty sure that 2 will also get one. You should try it.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit
Well,
of
my
a headache.
backlog.
Yeah,
Too
I know.
big.
It's very
Oh
big.
my god.
Too big.
Then we have new games coming out.
Oh
Like
my
Visions of
gosh.
Mana is gonna be here before we know it, and then Rebirth, and there's
Mhm.
just too
There's so
much.
many.
There's too much coming out.
They're
Too
just gonna
much.
pump out more. Like,
Yeah.
I'm scared.
What do you think is
No.
next? Like, what do you think? I mean, it's weird to think, like, there's all this hype that has been leading up to 7 and 16's releases, and we know there's another part for 7, bare minimum. But, like, it doesn't sound like they've started on 17. There seems to be a very large conversation among all of the developers of, like, wanting to bring someone else in. And I'm
Yeah.
curious, like, what would you want to see for the next Final Fantasy?
I mean, no, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say I always want turn-based, but that's me. But
Yeah.
I'm open to play action style games, but I kind of want them to go back and revisit like the old school style of Final Fantasy. But I know in this generation, people love the hack and slash exploring, like,
I raise
but
you
I
a
miss
Persona.
the old school.
I raise you
Yeah.
Persona because that's turn-based and people eat that up. I
It's
think
on my
it's
list after Rebirth. Yeah.
okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People are like, "Oh, well, turn-based is dead," but there are so many franchises thriving that are turn-based right now. The audience is there.
Bravely Default too. Like the
Yes.
Bravely.
yeah.
I mean, even like the success of Sea of Stars was pretty phenomenal. Even Chained Echoes made big waves last
Yep.
year. I mean, obviously Dragon Quest is still Dragon Quest. Like there's a lot. The Bravely
lots.
games, Octopath Traveler.
Mhm.
That's what I'm hoping for, a third one. I want a third one so bad.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
obsessed with that series. Obsessed.
same. So I think
Yeah.
it's still a possibility, and I think that they know. Like, I mean, that's the thing with Final Fantasy; it's always ever changing. So we don't know what we're gonna get. They could do a hybrid kind of thing, or
Yeah.
depends on that. I was just gonna say I want to see more women, like real
Yes.
developed, fully fledged
Yeah.
femme characters. More diversity, I think, and just kind of giving a little more depth to them. And I that was kind of that's where 16 kind of disappointed me a bit. So I feel like 17 has an opportunity to really kind of make waves there.
I agree.
I've never finished 13, and I feel like that one was a strong, female lead, right? Like I'm sure I'll play it one day, hopefully without the
Yeah.
motion sickness.
I would say
But
so.
like I feel like that was a strong female lead, right? So
I think
Yeah, Lightning's great.
there's
Yeah.
an interesting correlation though to the female-led game because people really, and I'm noticing people are turning on this opinion now as 15 years have passed. But people are or have always said that the 13 series was bad, and part of me always thought it wasn't for some of the reasons people lean into heavily, like people didn't like the combat system or they didn't like the story. I think people really struggle at having a female lead.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And 6 gets away with it only because it's such a large cast and it does not feel like there's one main character.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think it was bad.
Locke is the main character if they really want to, and they don't have to say it's Terra. And
yep.
I love Terra.
Yeah.
love Terra too.
Kitty.
Yeah, Sammy's joining us.
I
very loudly.
I'd also like to see a female writer.
Yes.
I think that's the big thing is the writers that have been working on these games for years have just been the same, like few people. And something I like about 14 is that there is a little bit more diversity in the writing and there's a lot more thoughtfulness that goes into how the characters interact with each other, at least to the way they can in an MMO. So I know there was a writer on Shadowbringers that I think would probably be amazing in that kind of role, but I'm down for anything at this point. Man, even if they went backward and they did a pixel game, I
Yeah.
still think it would do well. And maybe it won't do numbers in the way that Rebirth will, but like I don't know, I'd just experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what Final Fantasy's always been so good at, and that's the most impressive thing to me over the years. I think they always find something to do to make it interesting or do something that is really shocking or,
Mm-hmm.
like I remember when I heard that 15 was going to just have those 4 characters and I in that car and I was like, are you serious? Like I was so flabbergasted by that, but I know it's another one that a lot of people have really strong opinions on, but I fell in love with those characters. Like when I was in the game, I went, all right, this is what we're doing now. Like I'm along for the ride.
See, that was my thing when 15 came out. I was like, I don't want to play a game with cars. Where's my airships? Where's my
Yeah.
all this stuff? And obviously, like I've never finished 15 yet, so I have work to do this year, which is
Yeah.
12.
Oh
I
my
know,
Oh,
god, I
I
love 12
know.
so
So
much. I love
so
it so much.
the reason I never finished these or played them is because when they got released, I was a turn-based bitch. So like I always wanted to play turn-based. That's it.
Mhm.
So I was stuck on that stubborn mentality. And now that I'm older, I'm like, I want to actually play them again because I played like a little bit of them and I was like, no, they're not for me. And now I have to play 12, 13, and 15.
B and I have really strong opinions about 12.
yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that
I
game.
can't
Yeah.
wait. I can't wait.
I
Now we
didn't
can
like
talk about
12
it.
the first time though. It came out when I was a senior in high school and I just feel like
Mm,
my brain was occupied on other things in life and it
yeah.
wasn't anything like the other games, which
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
now doesn't bother me, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
back
Exactly.
then I was so used to what the formula was. And then also it felt I was just like, oh, it's too political. And I'm like, okay, it's so funny that like now I'm an adult and I'm like, ooh, I like political
Yeah.
stuff. It's just it was an interesting thing they tried to do at 12. I love
Yeah.
it now. I just
I
think it's
I
not
think
for
an
everyone.
interesting thing with that is 10, I think appealed to so many younger people.
Mm,
Mhm.
It was like a really especially with like teens and it really appealed to like a younger crowd and I feel like 12 was definitely felt like it was aimed toward those of us that played tactics and
yeah.
it felt like it was maybe for a more sophisticated, more patient audience and it just
Mhm.
felt like such a stark contrast to the audience that played 10 prior.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
that was definitely I think a big difference. Excuse
Can't
me.
wait. Can't wait.
Yeah. I'm one of those people and I think Dee's kind of with me on this too where like I liked 10 when it came out. I played it when I was like 12, I guess, probably around that
Mhm.
age. And it just doesn't hit the way it used to. I've had people kind of criticize the fact I don't cry when I play it now, and I'm like, I don't know, it takes a lot to make me cry,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think it's like, I don't know, I played the game, I cried my cries, and I will cry every time for 10 too when you get to like 1,000 words.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that, but that scene, like that, her singing that and stuff, like, man,
Emotional.
I can't
Yeah.
control that though, and I think it's weird when people kind of try to like police how we react to things. It's even like
Oh,
the
yeah.
people who come into chat and they're like, "Oh, this part it made me cry." And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up because now I'm not going to cry.
Yeah.
Stop."
Yeah, I hate that.
Oh, those people need to. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah, no.
Some
Every time I'm like,
Get out of
"Well,
here.
I'm not going to cry now because you
Oh.
just told me I should be." And that's always have the opposite reaction to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I'm
Yeah.
really stubborn.
But yeah, I don't know. It tends a mystery to me on why like it appeals to so many people and I'm like I just feel like an ass because I'm like it's a good game.
Yeah.
I don't feel
Doesn't
it.
hit you like
Mhm.
everyone's different. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
And
great thing too. The series has something for everyone.
that's what I
Right?
say all the time. I can't stand when people are like, "This is the best one." And I'm like, "Is it?
For
you,
you,
maybe.
That's for
yeah.
you.
But
Yeah.
there's not like
Yeah.
I know people whose favorite is 15. I know someone whose favorite is 2.
13.
I know
2.
people who love 13.
Mhm.
I could name so many people who have come into like my Twitch chat and been like, "This is my favorite game of all of them," and I'm like, "Dude, that's amazing." You know, like 15 didn't really appeal to me, and 10 is one that is kind of low on my list. But I'm so glad that people cry and like love that, and that's the game that got them into them. You know, and it's like I don't think we should all be expected to like love each one. You know, they're not our kids. We don't have to love each one equally.
You're right.
No.
Did you
And
guys
that's the thing.
ever did you guys ever get through Dirge of Cerberus?
I
I haven't
Mo
did.
motion
Ooh,
sickness.
how? I can't do it. I
I
couldn't.
did as a
I was
kid.
gonna vomit.
I didn't have bad motion sickness as a kid. I only
Mm.
got it in like recent years dealing with like lupus and some seizure stuff. So I could never play it now.
Mhm.
But
I had to watch the
yeah.
cutscenes, to do the Lucrezia video because yeah, it's
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
mhm.
Yeah.
I hope they actually like, I know people are like, "Oh, I hope they don't do it." I'm like, "No, please do
I
it.
think they will.
Have
Do a remaster. Do
some
it.
kind of, like,
They have
accessibility option that makes me not feel like I'm gonna vomit after 15
yeah,
minutes." Like, I don't
Yep.
yeah. They need to fix that game. I feel like yeah, I
There's a
can't.
market for it. People love Vincent
Mhm.
And
so
people love
much.
7. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like you know,
I feel
they
like Vincent's gonna get a DLC the way Yuffie did
mm,
after Rebirth.
mhm.
That's
Mm.
my little theory.
They said that there wouldn't be a DLC,
I think they
and
lie. They're
so
lying.
I think so this is where my theory is on it. I've noticed with 16, we still haven't gotten a PC release. I think they're
Mhm.
waiting until after all the DLC is out, which
And
it
then
sounds like there's only these two. They haven't said any
Yeah.
others. And then they'll do like a complete edition. So the exclusivity for 7 is up at the end of March, apparently. So I think it's going to come
Mm,
to PC sooner. Therefore, there probably will not be DLC. But
maybe.
maybe they'll do DLC after part 3.
Maybe.
Because I feel
Unless they just give us a remaster of Dirge, then I'm like,
I
this
just
is
think they have to. They got to do something to hold us over between whatever happens in
Yeah.
Rebirth and 3, and like I don't know,
they will.
people are
I
going to
feel like they
want
will.
Dirge even if it's not well received. And guess what? It's been over 15 years, so that's the threshold where people
Yeah.
spend time hating on something and then they go, "Oh wait,
It was actually great. I love it.
yeah, that was a masterpiece." And I'm like, "Was it? Y'all just spent all
Vanilla?
this time." I'm telling you, I'm seeing everybody turn their tune on 13. I'm like, "What is it? Why
Yeah,
do
a
you
lot of
suddenly
people.
appreciate it?" It's very strange. I have to give it
Very
another
strange.
try. But
I will say it. I've said it since they all came out. That's the 13 trilogy just gets better as it goes on. It has a bumpy start and then it takes off, and the end of it, that last game, like chef's kiss. Top notch. Love it.
yeah.
Definitely bumpy in my stomach. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I will try the mod though.
The mods help.
If it helps, yeah, if it helps you guys or
Yeah.
whoever's tried it, I'll definitely try it cuz I want to experience 13. Like I cosplayed Lightning
Ooh.
Oh.
without even knowing who she is. I'm like,
Oh.
it's Final Fantasy. I went to a convention in Vancouver and I built this foam cosplay of her and I cosplayed her without even knowing. And then I played the game and I'm like, bleh. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't even play it.
That was actually going to be one of my questions for you is what characters have you cosplayed? Because I found your Rose cosplay. And here's a very fun thing about my memory. I remember seeing, I think it was on like cosplay.com or something, your Rose cosplay back like when I was just getting out of high school. It's iconic. You did such a good job with it. So what are some other ones?
It was a long time ago. For Final Fantasy, I still have my Tara Branford. It's complete. It's done, but I couldn't wear it after COVID because I gained weight. So I couldn't zip it up and I'm like,
It's relatable. So I haven't done half of my
maybe
cosplays.
right? I just, the whatever. So I'll wear it sometime. But I've done Celis. I've done Celis before a long time ago. Lightning. I've done Tifa, obviously. Um,
You've
who
done
else have I done?
Hojo.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
iconic.
Hojo. Yes,
Mhm.
the Hojo. Nothing crazy. It's funny. Like I've cosplayed all these other characters from like Sailor Moon and like other animes and video games, but like not lots from Final Fantasy.
Which Sailor Moon
Because
characters did you cosplay?
I did Eternal Sailor Moon.
Ooh.
I did Steampunk Sailor Pluto. So it
I,
was like a steampunk version with
I'm so
like
glad
clock
because I was gonna say you'd be the perfect Sailor Pluto.
Pluto
Yeah,
with the dark hair.
yeah, because you had the green hair for a little bit too.
I
Mhm.
did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, not I don't know. Cosplay phase is kind of gone for me now, but I want to get back into it,
It's a lot of
slowly
work.
for
It's
like special
expensive.
events, like
Yeah.
if a new game comes out like Rebirth, I want to be like, okay, I'm going to cosplay. People want me to cosplay Hojo again and I'm like, okay, like it's just a
Yeah.
white coat and glasses and
We could all do
stuff or
it.
whatever.
I've done Hojo
Oh,
before
I'll do
and I still have it. I've done Hojo before and the fact I've done a few myself. I've done like
okay.
Renoa. Um I've
Ooh.
done a few Aerith. I've done like a few over the years and
Yeah.
the only one people ask me for again is Hojo.
Is Hojo? Can we all cosplay
I
Hojo
was
for
gonna
PAX West?
say we should do a Hojo
Oh my
thing
god.
where all
Yeah,
three
we
of
should do a
us,
Hojo thing.
yes, we all dress up like Hojo, and
Please,
I don't know.
that would be like huge.
I would
Yeah,
love to dress up as Hojo and just have a whole podcast talking about Hojo.
yeah,
I think Hojo is
exactly.
a fascinating
No,
character.
yes,
Yes.
let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's
Let's
do a
do it.
Hojo day, a
Um,
Hojo date, if you
please.
will.
Can we
yeah,
have a Hojo date?
Yes.
yeah. We're the
But I think there's a
Hojos.
lot to cover there. Hojo is fascinating.
Yeah, I almost called us the Hojos of the Final Fantasy community, and I'm like, wait a second, that's not good.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
That's not
I don't
it.
know about that
I
one.
Wait, did you say
sometimes
Hojis?
Hojos. Not that. What are you trying to hear?
I
No,
yeah.
Hojos.
Mhm.
Hojos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're talking
Mhm.
to there's shit that comes out of my mouth that sometimes doesn't make
No,
sense.
I went there too,
Anyway,
so I was glad that we
It's
both went
okay.
there.
Um. Yeah, I don't
minus that
know.
out of the video. If you
No, it stays. It
if
stays.
you want.
It
I don't know.
stays.
It
It's
stays okay.
yeah.
Hojo cosplays.
Oh,
Done.
this
Yes.
edit's gonna be wild.
I'm gonna
I just
love
need to get
this.
the glasses. I'll
Oh
do.
my god, I can
Amazon.
tell you I can send you the
Amazon.
ones I wore. I have to rebuy them because I broke mine, but
Oh,
Ooh.
I have to get them in a way that I can actually wear them. I'm also a little too worried I might end up really looking like Hojo.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
the point.
look.
You gotta
That's the
do it.
point. You gotta embrace it.
Yeah.
You gotta put the little stubbles,
Yeah,
like
you really went all in on the stubble. Every time you show the picture, I'm like, wow.
Yeah. You gotta
Yeah.
commit.
the red 13 like
Yeah.
action figure
Yeah, it's cute.
Gotta commit.
my experiment.
I think for Distant Worlds, because I'm going to Distant Worlds in the beginning of March, I think I'm gonna do Renoa in the ball dress.
Oh,
And do the
Oh,
little I think because
cool.
I never saw anyone really do that one. I mean, I'm sure people have.
Mm.
I just haven't seen it recently. It's kind
yeah,
of just like a basic dress,
Yeah, it's so pretty.
it
but I'm like, how
is.
fun. I'm like, I'm going to a music show, like, so
And
that's
you
the
have dark
top.
hair, a
Yeah,
suit.
Yeah. So I
yeah.
feel like that'll be I think that's the next one. Unless we do our Hojo thing before then that'll be the next one.
We
But
should we should.
No,
I'm
on
I'm
it.
so
down. I'm excited for this Hojo. We have to do it.
especially after all of us finish 7. I feel like we'll have a lot more
Yeah.
opinions
Yeah, because
on
we're all
him.
kind of in a similar spot in 7 right now, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm about to do all the big materia stuff.
I'm just about to go to Nibelheim,
Okay.
like when you actually after Cosmo Canyon.
Oh, okay.
But I'm
Yeah.
streaming tomorrow, which means I'm gonna do like 10 hours of it.
Yeah,
So
so you'll be where I am pretty much. Yeah.
yeah.
I get to.
But I'm
I think
doing New Threat, which has the different story. Like it's been
Oh.
tweaking stuff.
I still have to try that. I've never
Oh,
tried
it's
New Threat.
good. It's good.
It's good, and the things that they've changed don't feel like they detract at all. They've been feeling like just like they're kind of either connecting it more to remake
Yeah.
or taking things that I know were in like the original games like data that we didn't get to see, or in changing things in like a logical way where it's not like, I didn't like this. And they've left a lot of
Mhm.
stuff kind of intact in the way that it should be. So it's been really cool to play through.
Yeah, I recommend.
You B got me into all this mod stuff, and I'm like, this is so. I've never played with mods ever.
I feel like I may have
Like,
made a very
it's
large
awesome.
shift on the modding scene with
Yeah, you
people
did.
because I've always been like, I like to mod things. I like to make it be a fresh experience. And like,
Oh, nipple in the chest. I know the nipple
well,
of row flower.
It always
Sorry.
comes back to the nipple.
it does. I also did the Oops All Barrett's mod. That was the one that got me. Turns everything into Barrett. Everything. The materia, the save points. Yeah. Oh my god. That was such a listen. I don't think I've had a better time on stream in my life. I don't think I've ever laughed as hard as me playing the Barrett mod. The final boss. Sorry, you just get that you have to see for yourself what happens. But
Do you have
I'm
a YouTube video of that?
I
Link it
wish
down below.
I
Oh, there.
wish I
Yeah.
recorded all of it
No.
and put it to YouTube. And that's what everyone was saying back when I did it, and I just like didn't take it seriously. And nobody else has actually done a Barrett mod playthrough on YouTube. I'll do it.
I think you need to do it.
I'll do
I
it.
think
I
you
don't
should
think
do it.
I don't think I can handle
No,
it. but I
somebody
think
else-
you
see
should do
this.
it.
The problem was when I did that, I played so much Final Fantasy VII that year. I played it 4 times back to back. Because I
You
did
just get burned
I did
out.
OG on the PC where their mouths are open, so every single thing is really funny because their mouth is just like
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing that even in mine. Like they have the O face, the perma O face.
yeah, that's a PC thing. And then I did the Barrett mod, and then I did New Threat mod, and then I did Remake, Crisis Core, and then I was like, yeah, guys, I don't want to touch Final Fantasy VII for a while. I need to go away. It's I too much. I flew too close to the supernova, I think.
A lot.
Yeah.
I want to do that 10 one with the that's how I found out from you the ha 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 every time Titus or anyone says something in 10 they laugh. He like the Titus laugh.
I drew my line there. I will never.
You'll never. I just want to try for like 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes.
I
But
couldn't. I've watched people play it and I'm like, I don't know how you do this. I don't know how you
With
make
the
it
laughing?
through. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's truly a way to play the game.
lot.
I also really like
Yeah.
the FF8 randomizer.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
I just did that recently and oh my gosh, it was so fun.
Mhm.
It was really
I did
fun.
the 6 randomizer. That one was fun.
Did you do Beyond Chaos? Cuz that
I
one is
did.
really good.
That's the one I did, I think.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Isn't there another one?
There's a few for 6.
Beyond
yeah.
Chaos. No, I think that is the one I did.
Yeah, Beyond
Yeah.
Chaos does this thing where like there's a bunch of different character sprites and
That's the one.
yeah, so like you could get Yuna with purple hair as Terra, you can get Kamari, Mr. Saturn, like
Yep.
and then it puts in random RPG music as
Yep.
well that gets
Yeah.
randomized.
And the bosses are totally random too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's the one I did. Super fun.
Yeah. That's like
Yeah.
my thing that I like to impart on people. I'm like, you like to play these games? You're sick of playing it over and over? Add a mod to it. Do it randomized. It's fresh
I have
every
to
time.
I have to say too, because I'm watching both of you do the voice acting mods, the Echo, the Suna mods, and that's been really cool. And it's made me so excited for what they do with 8 and 9 because I know they're working on those also.
Yeah.
But I think it adds like a really great emotional depth to the original Final Fantasy VII that I didn't realize was lacking because obviously, like with Uematsu's score and stuff, it's not lacking any feeling, but it
Right.
just adds like another layer of certain scenes where I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so good, and I'm really curious to see what they do with the next ones.
Yeah. I feel like contextually it makes me realize that sometimes I would read things wrong. Like
Yeah.
I didn't with 8 specifically cuz I did play that demo. I think you can see how much they have improved with their process, but just like just understanding Squall. Like Squall was a
Yeah.
character that has super grown on me as time has gone on because I relate to him a lot. I'm like, yeah, why you give me this responsibility? I'm just a fucking person. Leave me alone. You know, that's him. But people just think he's an asshole because of whatever. So, perfect segue to one of the questions we have. And that is, wait, I had to turn this way. It's awkward to have to turn this way. Crap.
Do you need me to pull it up?
I was gonna say
I
in
have
general
it.
until
Go ahead.
like I was just gonna say in general, the voice acting does a huge impact, especially playing Final Fantasy IV on DS with their voices.
Oh god, I love that's my favorite
Like
version
that.
of 4.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh
And
my
there's so
gosh.
many amazing voice actors and actresses in that one. I was like, what?
And
That's Illidan? I'm really bad with
Yeah.
names, but like I'm good with like character names, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it just sounds so good.
And people, even when I played that recently,
Yeah.
were like so turned off by the graphics. And I'm like, you are missing such brilliant performances
Yeah.
if you're gonna not play this because of the way it looks.
Yeah.
Like, it's my favorite version of 4. It is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it looks fine. I don't get the beef with it. Like, I don't care.
I didn't know there was beef with it. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
good.
I've seen a couple
are
people.
weird.
Like, people start it up and they go, ew, I don't like how it looks. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? Looks
But
fine.
listen to it.
Yeah.
To their voice.
Dude, Kane, Cecil.
Yes.
All their voices are like, what was in here? I don't know how they did that. They just got everything. There wasn't any voice in that game where I went, no, that's not it.
Yeah, that's a must play. I always tell for people if you haven't played them, like, you got to play that one.
Yeah, I agree.
I got the question.
Okay.
Do you have a specific favorite character in the series? Or characters?
I was gonna say, I'm like, I know Yuna has a big old tattoo on her.
Yeah, you got
back.
the tattoo.
I don't know what it is about her. Her and Cecil. Cecil because he is this man who's like in this dark vibe, but then turns into like this beam of light. I don't know. I just love Cecil so much. But like Terra, ultimate waifu. Like I don't know why. I think it's just because she was like searching for like the meaning of like love. And I think love is so important to me. And that's just why she hit me as a character. Those two top. I don't know who the third one is. Maybe Tifa because she's so empowering as a woman. She's like there no matter what for someone and super kind and is a fighter. She's like everywhere with all her emotions. And yeah, I would say those top 3 for sure.
All right.
Solid top 3.
All right,
D?
Oh, me?
Oh, I gotta go.
Well, no, I'll go. Okay, if you're gonna my top 3. Well, I do have a little series I started called The Women of Final Fantasy, and I started with the characters that I love the most. So my favorite character was Rydia. And a lot of that was, as I mentioned earlier, I started playing Final Fantasy IV when I was a kid. And one of the cool things was like realizing, oh, this is a kid. She's in the party? Oh, shoot. Like, she wasn't strong. Actually, Rydia is kind of a pain in the butt at first because, like, she has like 30 HP. She gets hit once and she dies. But, like, you know, and she won't cast fire, which is such a valuable thing to have at that point in the game. You just kind of rely on Tella for everything. But the fact that you see her kind of like overcome her fears and grow up into this like strong, resilient woman is such like a beautiful thing. And I started that series on YouTube essentially because a conversation piece that happens so often is I like to ask people why they like characters. And there is always this default to, oh, well, she's hot. Oh, she's cute.
More than that.
And I'm like, well, yeah, but and so like it made me go through a thing with Rydia specifically where I was like, do I just like her because she's hot? No. Because, you know, for me, I go, well, technically she's a kid for a while. So that's weird to think that. But then also like, yeah, I get it. Like she grows up. It's really weird. Like, oh, time passed fast, you know, wink, wink. situation where she grows up. But I was like, no, like the reason I like her is this, and it made me start kind of looking inward to a lot of the female characters. Why do I like this character? It's not because they're hot. Um Ferris from FF5 was a next one for me.
Oh,
I love
nice.
Ferris. And I wish more people liked 5 or tried
love
I love
5.
5.
Yeah. No, I like feel very lucky to have found people who are like willing to try it and stuff, but I feel like it's the one that like it gets slept on. It's a great game, great characters. It's not like the most mind-blowing story, but it has some of the most like iconic moments
Yeah.
and stuff that
Yeah,
carried in to the rest of the series. So,
yeah.
but Ferris
Yeah.
again is that like strong badass, like doesn't feel the need to conform to any kind of specific role. And I mean, I guess technically takes the role of something that is a little more non-binary, and I actually think that's really rad for that
Yeah.
early in time. Like
Right.
really cool to
In a
see.
Japanese game too, which was like always an interesting,
Yeah.
you know, discussion
Yeah.
where people use that as an excuse a lot. Like, oh, well, it's Japan. It's like, well, that character existed back then.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly. And then my third is Agrias. Agrias is harder for
Oh.
me because Agrias honestly doesn't have much story or lore behind her. But to me, it's just how loyal and like how much she cares for those that she loves. And that, I don't know, I think she's great. I wish there
Yeah.
was more about her that I could say, but she's great.
Remaster.
yeah. That's a good thing about these like remasters. I noticed that with 7 too and remakes like getting to really flesh out these characters. Like I think coming from 6 and I say this all the time, but coming from Final Fantasy 6 and previous games, especially 6 though and then going into 7, I was always like, "Oh, about Tifa and Aerith." And I know people love them, but for me at the time, I was like I kind of missed the depth that I had from these amazing women in the game prior.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that got totally remedied for me with remake. If
Same.
anything, having like Jessie, Tifa, and Aerith really feel like individuals with their own quirks and their own personalities, and like to really get to see them, especially seeing Tifa and Aerith interact with each other in a
Yeah.
positive way
Yeah.
was like really, really cool. And I made me really appreciate those expansions. And I'm really excited for Rebirth for that reason to see more of that stuff for sure.
Me too. I can't wait to see like Yuffie and Aerith and Tifa all together. And just that's the thing. Like
Yeah.
there's that one portion in Don Corneo's mansion and remake where it's like girly pop time with Aerith and Tifa, and I always like I can't wait. It's so soon.
Yeah.
It was so
So
good.
soon. Oh my god, yeah, really soon.
Who are your characters?
Yeah. Who are your characters? Top
It's
3?
it's really shocking to me how difficult this is. Because I feel like people always ask me what my favorite games are, and I'm like, "Oh, these are my 5 favorite." But, like, it's rare to ask, like, who your favorite characters are. But I think for me, number 1 is definitely Vivi. Vivi's my favorite character of, like,
Mhm.
any media, any story, anything ever. I just really I think just a lot is so relatable, right? We've all wondered, like, those kind of, "When am I gonna not be here anymore? What is the meaning of
Yeah.
life? Why do I exist?"
Yeah.
Like, those big questions, and I've always been kind of someone that dwelled on a lot of those things, and I think the way that Vivi always handled it and handles uncertainty and wants to just stick by friends and be brave in the face of all these things, it's really inspiring,
Yeah.
and I've just always and also as a fan of the previous games, like, having that Black Mage design always felt like home.
So
Um
nostalgic, right? Yeah.
yeah, so I love Vivi, far and away my favorite. And then I guess it's really tough. I would probably say Cecil. Um,
Yes.
I just love Cecil. I've always
Me.
loved Cecil's character design. I've loved Cecil's journey. I've loved I think for me, it's nostalgia glasses too, but, like, starting Final Fantasy IV, and that is my favorite opening of any game in the series, and
Mhm.
having that, like, "Am I the villain?" Like, "Ooh," like, kinda discussion, and then immediately having Cecil be on the same page of, like, "Is this wrong?" Like, was
Dude,
a
that
really
scene with
cool
Pain and
thing.
him,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's so iconic, going
yeah.
and that whole scene with, like, the font and the oh my god.
Mhm. And I think
So
having the 3D version too, and to get those little bit of extra scenes and those extra discussions and really get to see them and their dynamic and Cecil's
yeah.
kinda inner struggle made Cecil one of my all-time favorites. And I do think he was kind of the blueprint for the protagonist going forward.
Mhm.
So that was a big thing for me. And the next one, I wanna say Squall, but I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna say Balthier.
Oh.
Oh, see, I don't know him yet, so
Yeah, a lot of
huh.
people seem to, like, take that character and boil him down to kind of, like, what he does or his, like, "Oh, he's just so suave," and all of this, but I think there's a lot more depth to him than people realize too, and, I
Yeah,
think
if you get
he's really, really just a character that the minute he's on screen, every line, I'm like, "Oh my god, yes," and I just
Mhm.
need him in my party at all times. I love Balthier. He's so and it's just fun to have a character that, like, bleeds charisma, but also kind of has an interesting inner struggle with what's going on in the scheme of this big world and all
Yeah.
of that, and I think he's really interesting, and then I gotta give Squall an honorable mention because
Yeah.
Wall is
I love
amazing.
Squall. I love Squall. People hate I'm a boy, and I love
No,
him so
he's
much.
so like yeah, he's amazing.
I think people, again, write him off as, like, "Oh, he's emo," and it's like,
Mhm.
His vibes though.
he's a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of us feel those vibes too, like growing up.
Yeah.
Like we're like him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
and
can
Normal.
he's got some
Introvert, like
Yeah, and I think a lot of people who don't like him are people who haven't had abandonment issues or trauma in any way, and
right?
and
Yeah.
he handles both of them, I think, pretty well given the circumstances of that game.
Squall is the quintessential portrayal of a millennial because like he really is
Yeah.
because he has like all of these responsibilities thrust upon him and he's like, "Wait, what? How am I
Yeah.
supposed to do this? I don't even know how to react to like all the other things that have happened to me." I think
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
just like and I think that is why he's kind of grown on me as time has moved on too. Where I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, man.
And when he loves Renoa, oh my god, they're so sweet.
I'm a weirdo. I just think that they wouldn't make it beyond, maybe a couple years."
But I don't think they're supposed to. Like,
No,
it's
I
that
know. I know.
it's fate, right? The whole theme of that game is children of fate. Like,
Mhm.
it's
Mm.
kind of that kid's first love that is needed for that time to make those things in the game happen, like, they're
Yeah.
fated to
That's a good
be,
point.
and I think that's the beauty of that, like, sometimes I've had that where relationships don't last forever, but I really needed that
Mhm.
person to get me through
Yep.
that period of time,
Yeah.
and I
Yep.
think that
Yep.
that's what's cool about those 2, like, it doesn't, you know,
I think for
seem like
me,
it's
it's
forever,
all the
but
people who lean on to that being the best love story. And I'm like, 9 and 10 are far above for me as
And
love
Rosa and
story.
yeah.
Cecil
Oh
too.
my God. Yeah. Rosa and Cecil and
Yeah.
Fran and Balthier. It's not like
Yeah.
in your face, but their love is so
Mhm.
real to me. Like it
Mm.
doesn't have to be said. They don't have to like, fuck in front of you,
They
Look
don't?
looking at you,
I
Clive.
mean, I wouldn't have minded,
I mean,
but
yeah, sure. Yeah, but I mean, actually, yeah. But
Oh, I
I
can't
mean
wait to play this now. Can't
but
wait.
no, there's something like the chemistry and I think that's them as they were writing through these games, they started kind of being like, "Oh, well, how can we make the love and feel a little more natural?" I think they still need some
Mhm.
work. I
Yeah.
think
yeah,
10 probably did it the best though.
Yeah,
for
Yuna and
me,
Titus.
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Titus.
Yeah. That's what makes I say this all the time, that may not be my favorite game, but that ending,
Love story.
that game's ending without ruining it for anyone,
Mhm.
it just makes me weep, and I'm not someone who cries a
Yeah.
lot about anything else in that game, but that will get me every time. It's one of my favorite endings in the whole series.
Yeah.
And in 10 too, I think the way they carry that kind of over too, right? We
Yes.
get more time with it,
Mhm.
and it's another case of, like, it doesn't need to be like, love is a verb, it doesn't need to be characters saying romantic things to each other, it's about, like, the impact that they have on each
Mhm.
other's lives and actions and behavior and all of that. I agree with you on Squall and Renoa, that's not why I don't look at that and go, "Oh my god, the best love story."
I
Yeah.
mean, it definitely made me feel warm and fuzzy when I played
Mhm.
it, and I
Yep.
was
Yep.
like, "Oh, look at them dancing with each other, them in space." Like, I
Mhm.
just
The
I feel
space
like
scene.
my adult perspective was like really stuck on some things about them that I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, I am someone who is very similar to Squall. If I had someone like Renoa in my life right now, I would not like them. I would
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
I would not like them. But when I was a teenager, I probably would have needed something
Mm.
like that. So it's yeah, I think that's where I am with it. Let me see.
Mhm.
Segue. I want to get into your collection because I don't want to take too much longer. But that's a big thing that a lot of people know about you is that you are trying to get the World Guinness um, record
World record.
for
Yeah.
your collection. How many pieces do you have?
Over 4,000.
Oh my god, Yuna.
Not
That's
even
how I
Do
kidding.
you
found
do you
you.
just like write it down? Like do you write do you have like a
I counted. So with my moves, I did like little like counts and roughly, and it just gets like bigger and bigger, right? So I don't have an estimate, like an exact, sorry, like an exact amount, but since my moves, I was supposed to aim for this like 2 years ago. But
Yeah.
then with my divorce, and then with my multiple moves, and then with my mom, and then with my brother, it's just been
Yeah.
like, and then moving from a bigger house to like first a 1 bedroom apartment. I couldn't even unbox anything. So now I'm in a 2 bedroom where I can unbox like half barely,
Mhm.
and I still have so much in the storage and also like in my living room. So it's gonna take a little bit more time, and hopefully next year, like I keep saying this, and hopefully I can just unbox
Well,
everything and count.
if you
But
want
they
us to
want,
come over and help, I'm
yeah,
down.
yeah,
yeah,
same.
yeah, you want to
Honestly,
kind of help
I
me count?
I
just like
do.
I would lay in the room and just like perceive everything, just like wow, all this
I just
stuff.
wanna see everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
I am it's how I found you.
Yeah.
I, like,
They're
lived on
collected.
Instagram
Oh,
for years and found you, and I was always so in awe just because you have so many rare pieces,
mm.
and it's always so fascinating to me. Um, I
I
consider myself like a tiny baby collector.
Yeah, me
So you're,
You
too.
like,
know what? You
gold.
know what I say though? It doesn't matter. Okay, this is gonna sound weird, and I might get trolled in chat, or someone might say something. It doesn't matter about the size, okay? It's about your passion. Okay, that's what I say. And people are just like, I'm so jealous of your collection. And I'm like, listen, I've been collecting for over 30 years. Okay. I get friends helping me, giving me stuff when I was young. I had like, Japanese friends, Chinese friends. Like they get all this stuff, right? When they go travel. So they
Mhm.
give them to me. And then I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Like it depends on your passion, and we're all equal,
Mhm.
so um but one day when I get it, like I'm just gonna really not stop, but I'm gonna slow down
Yeah.
because I'm very picky. Like I don't collect everything. I
Yeah.
collect things that mean a lot, like action figures and all that. I don't collect a lot of those. It's more of like the nostalgic old school, Final Fantasy collectibles from like 1 to 10. I don't have a lot of 16 stuff because I find those are easy to find.
Yeah.
And it's good. Like I like 16, but it's just not my thing.
I
Yeah.
think that makes your collection even more special though, because every piece in it is so meaningful to you.
Mhm.
Mm,
And yeah,
yes.
there are so many unique pieces. There are some things that you show and I'm like, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
Like like
There's so
the
much I want to show
like
still, but
the Aerith scene, like that water cast thing, like
oh, the cold cast statue,
yeah,
yeah.
that thing. Like that is what how do you even find out things like that existed back then?
Friends, Japanese auction sites,
Okay.
eBay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, there is a Squall and Renault one that I want. That is from the dancing scene,
Oh my
but
god.
it is
Oh.
so it's kind of easier to find, but the price is like 15 to 1600 just for that little statue.
Yeah.
So like those are the things that mean a lot to me, right?
Hmm.
Like it's the older nostalgic collectibles and not like the newer and promotional items obviously mean a lot too because it's stuff that you can't buy, right? It's stuff that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
Even that
given.
cup you were showing off on Twitter, it was like a cup of
Oh, the
from
Pepsi one?
yeah, yeah, where like it has Aerith and Cloud and
Slush. Yeah,
yeah,
there's like just random stuff like that.
yeah. And that's actually something like even just on the retro scene, there's a lot of people who are coming onto Twitch and seeing like, oh, retro games are really cool. But like the market for retro now is really hard to get into to
Yeah.
be a collector. And a lot of times I have to tell people like, yes, I have a copy of this game. Yes, that game is worth $500, but I also got it when I was younger and it cost like $25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't afford these games now. In fact,
No.
they're kind of like our safety net if we have to like randomly get money, but I don't think that they would sell quick anyways. So, and I would have a really hard time parting ways with them. So it's one of those things where like, yeah, the quantity of what you have, like yours is a labor of love over so many years, but I think people kind of rush to do the same thing
Mhm.
to kind of match that
I've seen
energy.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen collectors like that, and it's weird. Like, like I'm not gonna judge anyone, obviously, but
Mhm.
like when you've been collecting for like over 30 years compared to someone who has all this money and then buys 3,000 collectibles, it's like why? Because you just want a number,
Yeah.
Right.
But like, is there passion in that? Like, I hope there is, but
There's
I've seen
probably
Yeah.
people
not
like
much
that. They buy,
character.
yeah, and then they buy it all and then they sell it because they can't, like, where are they going with it?
Yeah.
Right.
It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's the thing is there's so much character in the things that you share that you've gotten because they're not all perfect and shiny and new.
Mm.
There's imperfections to them. Like
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
favorite is that you were showing those like they're like FF8 characters. They're like little tiny figures or something. They're not a
Yeah.
figure. You know what I mean though, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, I know which ones.
yeah, you said you'd give me some. I really would like
I have them.
I would
The Coca-Cola ones.
yeah.
Yeah, I love those.
I have a whole like I
I
have
want a
bags.
Zell, I want a
Oh my
Quistis,
god.
a Selfie, a Squall. Nothing
Okay, I
else
gotta
ma
get working on those and send it to you. Oh
yeah,
God, I have so many N
no.
D if you want any.
I mean, you've got any Leviathan, anything. I'm always looking for Leviathan stuff.
Oh, wait, let me see that again. Let me see that.
I got Leviathan living on my
Yeah,
arm
Wow,
Liz.
forever. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
super sick.
Yeah, and
It's
you
Me,
always cool.
I don't know. I feel like, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something related to the collectibles. Um,
Is there one piece that you don't have that you're like really trying to find right now specifically?
there is a Tara Branford poster
Mm.
with her on the Magitech armor, and I have been dying for that. But it's so
Mhm.
hard to find. It's like a rare poster from back in the day, right?
Yeah.
By Yoshitaka Amano. So like it's so hard to find. And the people that I see having it, I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. I wish
Yeah.
I would sell it, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't even want to know how much it would sell for.
yeah,
One
It's
of the
that's
insane.
one of the coolest things about your collection too that I've loved, me and B got to witness this in person too, is how many pieces you have signed
yeah.
by the creative.
Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
such a cool thing.
I liked when I just casually walked up to Soken. Can you
Yeah.
sign this automaton? And I'm like, I felt bad, but no one was doing it. But I'm like, I'm a person that just, if I want to do something in life
You gotta
that's
go
gonna
for it.
impact me, like I'm gonna try. What are they gonna say? No? Okay, shut down. But
And he was so cute. He was so excited
good.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just gotta get in
Yeah.
there. Thanks to you guys for pushing me to do it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, that was
Um
But
fun
yeah.
with both of you because I had met Yoshi P before. So that's why I was like shoving both of you. I'm like, let's take a
I
picture
don't
with Yoshi P.
yeah, I just yeah, I remember everyone was kind of like I don't know. I don't want to bother him. And he was just kind of standing there like,
No, he loves it.
yeah.
He's the absolute cutest. Like, I love him.
At
He's precious.
FanFest during the first concert, it wasn't the piano. Oh no, maybe it was the piano concert. Yes, it was because Ruby wasn't at the primals. Ruby was dressed as Minnie Moon, Sailor Minnie Moon or Chibi Moon,
Chibi
and
Moon.
because she calls her Minnie Moon, it's very cute.
Oh,
But and she was dancing. They had this like pretty little dance floor lights, and she almost ran into Yoshi P. And I was like, oh,
Amazing.
he probably wouldn't recognize me when I met him a couple months before. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, please, Ruby, don't run into Yoshi P. He's a
Of all
legend.
people.
Yeah, I don't want to get kicked out of here because you're having too much fun. I mean, he like giggled at her or something. It was very cute, but I was like, no.
He's so
That's
cute.
adorable.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
With your collection, something that I've always thought of and wanted to ask you about is just like, and you've kind of already touched on it, but I always think back to when I was like 20 years ago, essentially, when I would see these like cool things that were available in Japan, but I never had access to getting them. Isn't it wild now to see how many like Final Fantasy trinkets exist? It feels like people who are
I didn't
fans
know.
now are so lucky because like this
Yeah.
t-shirt, there's a little VV on it, like this one on Yeti or whatever the one day. And I was like, of course. Like I have so many Final Fantasy themed shirts. I have like
Mhm.
stuff like this, even the Breath of Fire thing. Like it was
Yes.
never possible to get stuff like this unless whatever you do. I never used eBay until recently. So
Yeah.
So my friend, growing up, he was Japanese and his family would go back and forth and he knew how much I loved Final Fantasy. So like I wouldn't buy them because at that time I was super young. I'm not gonna where am I making this money from, right?
Right.
So like he would gift me like little things, like obviously not too expensive. So that's how I started. Um and then as I got older, I just like saved my money from like allowances and bought from there.
was there ever a point where
So
was there like an item where you're like, okay, that's it. I am collecting. Was there like a moment
mm,
for you?
I think when I officially bought Final Fantasy 1 for Nintendo, like North American, with my money. So like
Ooh.
Yeah.
that's yeah,
You were all
with,
in
with
then.
my own like, allowance money from my dad or whatever. I just this is mine. And I bought it used. So I can't
Okay.
buy that
I
shit
gotta
new. Like
I gotta ask, how much was it? It's probably hurts now to think like, oh, that's probably not that bad.
I think I spent like $60 on it.
Oh wow.
For 40, 50?
Oh,
No, it was like 60.
Yeah, games have always kind
But
of been the same. Now with inflation, it's like they
when
actually
you
got
look
cheaper
at it,
over time.
it was cheaper, yeah, because back then I remember when I saw Illusion of Gaia.
mhm.
And it was so like when you think about it back then,
It
what was it
came with a
like?
t-shirt though.
Yeah.
Yes, like $200 or like 150 or something
Yeah.
back then. So like
Yeah.
this guy included the Nintendo game for me and a Ninja Turtle game or something. I can't remember what it was. I think it was Ninja Turtles for Nintendo. And then I just started there. But like brand new, you can't buy that brand new. Like when you're a kid, how
Yeah.
you gonna afford that?
It was a
Obviously with
Christmas present for me usually.
yeah.
Yeah. Mine were
Yeah.
holiday gifts usually, and then I discovered eBay at like when it was first born, and my aunt had been selling things on eBay, so she was
Mhm.
like my in, and I'd be like, "Can you find this Final Fantasy thing?" And
Yeah.
kind of would like get stuff from Japan through that when it was like very fresh. But I also had a friend that went back and forth, so it was like easier. But these people now, it's
Yeah.
Larry Nix is releasing new collectibles like every week.
All
Yeah.
the time.
Oh my god, the music boxes, like I collect those. I can't keep up. Like
Yeah.
there's a new music box every week.
It does feel like that.
Oh my god, and you got the snow globe.
Oh
In
yeah. The gold saucer snow globe.
I'm so
That's
mad I
great.
missed it.
I had what? You missed it?
I did. I had my alarm
You need
set,
to
I
sell
had the
that though.
points, and I was like and then I wasn't home, and then it was like, "Ah, it's fine, it's not for me." But I
They need to sell that though. That's a collectible for a lot of people. And not everyone buys from the Square Enix website. Like I don't buy for all the time, but I had the
Right.
points.
Yeah.
And then,
Right.
like, I buy a lot of auctions, I buy from Kuji, I buy from, like,
Mhm.
used friends, Facebook Marketplace, like, it's just everywhere.
Yeah,
I
it
feel like
is
they should
hard to
sell
get the
it.
points, but I'm sure they'll have other ones, but,
They
like,
should.
they
No,
should come out with other snow globes because that's a fun
but a
collectible
lot
in
of people
general.
couldn't get it either because their points weren't given to them because they pre-ordered,
Yep.
but the
Yeah,
points don't go through until it's, like, shipped or
process.
whatever, and
Mhm.
it uh,
Yeah, the timing was weird on that because my Rebirth shipped last week. So,
A lot of people are getting it early.
yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
it's
I've
already
heard.
out there.
Yeah, I've
It's
heard.
Yep.
crazy.
Elle and I were reading some leaks. I don't think they're real. I'm going to be honest because they just, it was funny.
Doesn't make sense.
No, no, it doesn't. But we were reading them. I'm not going to say what they are because
There was one I saw
they're
too
absurd. It's absurd.
that you can anyway.
There's some
By accident,
photoshopping. I think there's some photoshopping going
there has to be.
afoot
Did you
as well.
there was someone on on a date that you could take.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
I
looked
saw that
Is that the
too.
one? How
that
is that
yeah.
real? I don't think that's real, man.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. I
Does it
think
but, like, anyway, I hope not, 'cause
I think
Yeah, I don't think
I mean, I wouldn't mind.
just think about the modding scene and how good people are with that. I would
Yeah.
not be surprised if people are just messing around with
Mm.
that, passing
Mhm.
around. But I think it's that point in time where you have to kind of mute it or else you're,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I
you know,
saw a ton of stuff already, and I muted so many things, but I'm
Yeah,
like,
me too, and it slips in somehow.
I'm
Like,
not like someone who I had the major, like, twists of 16 spoiled because of Twitter,
yeah.
oh, yeah,
Oh, no.
and, it didn't ruin my experience at all.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
I'm kinda like, I'm fine if this especially having played the original and every single spin-off, and I'm like, if I get a spoiler, I'm not gonna cry about it, so
Mhm.
it's an interesting thing to see, though, because, yeah, you don't know what's real and what isn't out there right
Yeah.
now, like, at all.
I feel like it's gonna happen soon, like, in the
um,
next, like, upcoming week or 2, like, early people getting stuff early and then
yeah.
maybe
Apparently,
not
people
now, but
are playing it on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which just seems like a big way to get in a lot of trouble I wouldn't wanna be in. That's not a naughty list.
Yeah.
That's the
mm-hmm.
Square Enix naughty list is not a naughty list I wanna be on.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
no,
Oh, I gotta be careful.
Yeah, be
Yeah.
careful.
You guys be careful.
no, I'm
Yeah,
good.
I'm
I like I said, me and Elle, we were there. Like, you know what? Let's just look at some of these, and we read through them, and we're like, okay, there's some things that are kind of consistently in each one of them because we read 3, but some of
Mhm.
these are really like fan fiction.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
that, there's no way, no way. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think no one's going to be able to trust what's true until like a month later. I
Yeah.
think there's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of like, oh, this is what happened, and it's blown out of proportion. But
Yeah.
all right, I'm
Or
good.
people who are playing it now and then they upload it, like, a day after on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't know
You know,
how.
like, some people get, like, early like, I think some of the maybe journalists or, like, someone that does reviews for, like, these games early,
Mhm.
it could post it after, and I'm like, "Mm."
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see. I'm curious to see how that is because I know 16, a lot of people didn't get it as early as they thought they would.
Yeah.
So, I'm
Yeah.
and Square seems to wanna really try to protect against it, but I don't know.
Mhm.
Who knows?
one more question about your collection is well,
Yeah.
actually two. Well, first, what is the most important item to you in the entire collection?
I would say the Loveless locket
Ooh,
Oh.
because that was very hard to find. Like, I don't even know like, I just randomly saw someone trying to sell it, and I'm just like, "Please." Like,
wasn't that kind of recently too?
that was, like, a few years ago, yeah, and I didn't even
Okay.
know it existed, and I'm just like, "Where did this pop up from?" And then I'm like, "I feel like I've seen it before, but I didn't know it was real," and then I'm like, "I need it." So, the Loveless locket, and then, probably a few of the signature stuff, like meeting Yoshitaka Amano, he signed, like, a few things, probably those, and then, the Cloud and Aerith Yoshitaka Amano painting.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah, I
I'd probably
think
say those.
you posted a picture of maybe it was your living room with some pictures of
Yeah.
mono art on the
Yeah.
walls. Dee has a mono.
On her shirt
Yeah.
too.
I have an
Yeah.
Amano original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's
Someday we'll get there.
oh my gosh, my partner surprised me with it when I
I
was like
want to see
going.
this. What?
Yeah, it's upstairs. I'll send you a picture of it. It's
Yeah.
hung upstairs. I'm trying to move it down here so I can like have it in my office space, but
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's part of the silk paintings that he had done. So it's just like girls
Yeah.
just kind of like sleeping and I absolutely he has a bunch of new ones up for sale right now too. And I'm like so
I've.
tempted, but they're
Yeah.
several thousands, obviously, of
Yeah.
dollars. But
Yeah. And
I
they're
just,
gonna go up a lot when he
when he's
passes.
not yeah, when he's not
Yes.
with
Yeah.
us anymore.
Yeah.
That's kind of
No.
the thought process I have too, right? Because it's like it's priceless to me now, but I
Yeah.
can't imagine like when I know you can't get them anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't know this that he does. I mean, he does shows in New York a lot, so like I've been
Yeah.
able to go see stuff in person. But on his website, like he does these limited run series
Yeah.
of different like silk like just beautiful like
And
ink
characters.
paintings, and some of them are like, he has a new series that's very bright and colorful, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Did you
there's
see
some
all
on there
the
now.
he did like a clothing collab recently?
Yes.
It,
I
it
With
was
have
you.
it
He
was
I
done
have
it
so
the
with
end
you.
yeah, I have the N2 jacket.
what? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I wore it to the
I
oh,
was
you
like, oh
weren't
my
there
god,
that
nice
night.
jacket.
Yeah,
I
you were
remember
the at the
I
bar. I wore
commented.
it to when we were hanging out at the
Is
16 event.
all I saw is they had one with like the flan, like the classic looking flan
Yes.
face. I really wanted that, but then I was like,
It
whew.
was it was a little spendy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
bought
I
it because
got
I was like, I'll wear it to all these events, and I ended up wearing it to that 16 event, and, like, that was it, but
Yeah.
mine
it's
still sitting in my closet with the tag on it.
I
It's
would
like a
be
long silk like dress with like his art, like
Ooh.
the bombs and stuff. I've
oh.
never even I was gonna wear it to one of the events and I'm like, well, it's kind of see-through.
Oh.
Yeah,
So it's one of those things that you have to kind of put together or with like jeans, or like
yeah,
something flowy. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna leave it in the closet for now.
Yeah, I would never wear it. I'd be too afraid that I would ruin
Yeah.
it or something.
oh my gosh, we should not have talked about Amano 'cause he put a bunch of new art up for sale.
Oh.
There's,
No,
like, a ton of
no.
new art up, and I'm looking, and I'm like, "Oh, no, there's so many new ones."
um
I'm not gonna look. I'm scared.
Don't look.
so
Don't look.
I'm scared.
and then the last thing about your collection, what are some of the weirdest things people have said to you about it? I have definitely spied some things in your
About my
comments.
collection.
Yeah.
I think I didn't really get weird stuff, but I got like the Final Fantasy 14 router. Some people said some weird stuff about that.
Wait, there was
Really?
a router?
Yeah, there is a router. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll post it again sometime, but yeah, there's a router.
Oh.
I don't know what else people said weird stuff about.
Okay,
I'm sure
so
it's out there.
here's what I have observed.
Oh, I forgot about one thing.
Oh, go ahead.
The Final Fantasy 14 um PS Vita. People are
Oh,
gonna
you have that signed, right?
Yes, that I got that signed, and that's really, really rare. I think that's my most probably prized possession because
Oh.
it's very, very limited. So
Oh. So
anyway.
so one of the things that I have noticed is that people always comment like, "Well, that's not really yours," when they see your collection.
Oh, yeah, it's my brother's or my ex-husband's or
Yeah.
my brother's friend's collection.
Yeah, which is such
Yeah.
a like what? Kind of
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've gotten comments from random people saying it's not mine. Yet people like I'm 42 bros. Like I've been collecting for a long time.
Right.
Girls can be collectors too.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
girls can collect. And I remember I got into not an argument, but I remember this one collector said that girls shouldn't be collectors. This
Oh.
this was this was years ago and I made a big thing on Twitter about it. And I'm just like, why would you say that?
What grown
We're all
ass
human.
straight man is trying to collect this? What grown ass straight man wants this?
Mm,
I'm just
I love
saying.
that.
I mean, plenty do, and that's awesome. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, I know a lot of ladies that want that too.
Yeah.
Like, what about this screams that it's for one person? For
Right.
like for any one type of
Right?
person.
Oh, it's so
This
sweet.
brings me joy. It
It brings happiness no matter
My
what. It's
partner
just
would look at this and go, "I don't know what that is." Like,
Oh, it's a
you know
guy
what I
with a
mean?
funny little
or
hat.
bees.
Yeah, he's like, "Who's that little
Yeah, bees.
dude?" Like, it doesn't
Or like
Oh.
it's for
bees. The-
everyone.
These little like
Oh my.
old school, very old. Like
Oh,
these aren't for kids. I mean, they can be for kids. Sorry, is what I mean. But
yeah.
like adults can have this stuff. Girls can have this stuff. Guys can have.
Yeah.
Like I don't like when people judge. That's the biggest pet peeve of mine is when people say
Yeah.
that girls can't be this, girls can't do that. Like why?
Yeah.
What's your why?
Yeah. I think we face it a lot in the Final Fantasy community specifically, and I mean, I think all 3 of us can relate to this. We stream a lot of older games, a lot of retro games, and there's this mentality, I think, with that age group specifically,
Yeah.
that we're not playing them genuinely, or like there's just some sense of, "Oh, you don't really love this thing, you're just pretending to," and there's
Mhm.
an innate
Yeah,
it's
pretending.
sexism. It's a sexism thing, and
Yeah.
I get it all the time in retro where people will come in and think they need to teach me about these games, and it's like,
Mm.
"Excuse excuse you, like, actually,
You
what you're
probably
saying
know
isn't
more
even
about
right."
them.
Most of the time it's
Yeah,
wrong. Yeah.
I have to correct them too.
Yeah.
I always get the, like, "Well, they named it Final Fantasy because it was the last ever game," and I'm like, "Well, actually,
Yeah, no.
Let me tell
no.
you.
Yeah, but
Let me
then
teach
we're
you."
we're a bitch for that, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
so
I've been told, like, I'm
yeah.
a know-it-all, I'm a
yeah.
snob, and it's like,
Yeah.
"No."
It's so stupid.
The other
It's
one,
like I
and because Dee and I have both played Final Fan, like pretty much every game, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure that there's a few just like random little ones, okay? But I, at this point, have played all of them. And,
Mm.
you know, maybe I haven't beat every single one, but I've like dabbled. And I've had people
Yeah.
who test me on this.
Oh,
They'll be like,
yeah.
oh, have you played blah, blah, blah one? And I'm like, yes, I have. I have played
Yeah.
Ad, I'm having a brain fart. The sequel to 12. Yes, not
Yeah.
many
Yeah,
people have.
yeah.
Why am I forgetting what it's called? Revenant
Wings.
Wings. That's it. And I'm like, and then I'll pull it out and I'll be like, look, I literally,
See,
and
I
I
get
streamed
yeah.
it.
I get the more obvious ones, like, "Oh, well, I bet you didn't play Crystal Chronicles." It's like,
Oh,
that's
right.
I'm the only ones I haven't played are, like, Final Fantasy Artniks, because you can't physically play it, you can't get
Yeah.
it anywhere, like, I have a command for this, like, we had to make a command out of it as a joke, because it has the list of the 95 plus games that I've played, and then people will be like, "Oh, there was no way you did all that." So it's like, well, you're
What?
testing me, and then I'm showing
Why?
you that I have this list of almost 100 of these games, and when it's so frustrating because 'cause I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I've played every sequel, prequel, remix, re-release, blah, blah, blah," and then they're just like, "No," and then I'm like, "Actually, here's the list, make it easy for you,"
Yeah.
and then instantly like, "Oh, no, I deny this information."
Yeah. Well, didn't you just have somebody, and I got a similar thing. Oh, I feel like people just say they've played them all. Like,
Yeah, I had a whole conversation about that,
and it's
yeah.
What?
like, yeah, what do you
Mhm.
mean? Why would I say it? I literally just beat Mystic Quest. Up until
Yeah.
that point, I said I've played them all except for Mystic Quest.
Yeah.
like I don't know why that's
Yeah.
so. I
I
this
think it's more infuriating because there are men that I know who will say the same thing, and they haven't played as many as me, and that's fine. I don't think I'm better as a Final Fantasy fan because I've played more than anyone I've
Yep.
ever met. Like,
Yep.
it's just me being like, "Oh, look, I have a problem."
yeah
But it's funny to me that I know men who will be like, "I've played every single Final Fantasy," and I don't challenge them on it because 'cause I'm not a jackass,
Yeah.
but I'll see no one in their chat challenge them on it. And I'm like, "Oh, that's funny because when I say that, I get tested." And I'm like,
That's so ridiculous. Like I don't like so people think just for me too, since I'm a big fanatic, a big collector, they're just like, you haven't played all the Final Fantasies, but you're a big fanatic. I'm like, well, literally, I can't play 12 because motion sick. Well, not
right.
12.
Well,
12
you
I
have
didn't play
yeah, but
because it wasn't like turn-based back in the day when it came out. I was different back then.
mhm.
13 I couldn't play motion sickness. 15 I couldn't play because motion sickness. I've played through them like a little bit of them, but I couldn't
Yeah.
finish them. Oh, you're not a true Final Fantasy fan. And I'm like, shut the
I
F
would
up.
say like 90% of the people I
Why?
know have not played all of them.
Oh,
No, you don't need
yeah.
Yeah, like
you don't need to play through all of them. Like it just it's so dumb.
yeah. And that's the
Yeah.
thing, you're probably
I
not
don't
going to jive with all of them either. That's why I tell people
no.
who do try to set out and play all of them, I'm like, just give it an honest try. If you don't like it, move on, play something
Yeah.
else. You're gonna find one that you like. It's just I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yep.
why we have to prove anything more than anyone else.
Yeah.
Especially you know, like you have all this stuff behind you and like
Right. Like, oh, obviously
No, but
you
it's my
really care
brother's
about it.
collection. It's not
Yeah.
mine. It's my brother's. Yeah. I remember this guy who commented on one of my YouTube videos years ago. He's like, "Oh, that's not her collection. That's her brother's. She's only into six packs, men's with six packs and BMW cars." I'm
what?
not even kidding.
Wow,
Yeah.
thanks for telling
Apparently I like BMWs and six packs and this is my brother's collection. Like, what?
Okay.
What? What doesn't make fucking
and if that's what you liked, wouldn't you just talk about that?
Yeah.
Why would you be
Yeah.
talking about such a niche thing on the internet?
Right.
It blows my mind.
That's like why would you have tattoos on your body?
For
Right.
fun. No, they're not real. They're just
You just use a little
stick-ons.
Sharpie.
Just
Yeah,
wanted
Sharpie
attention. That's what
stick-ons,
I
you
get a
know?
lot. You just want
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah, I just want attention. That's how I grow. That's how I get my numbers. Like, I'm not even into that. Come on.
Well,
If I
that's
was really into numbers, I'd be pumping out YouTube videos constantly every day. I'm
Right.
like in backlog from 2 years ago from editing videos.
yeah.
But life happens. Stuff in life happens. But this is
Right.
like my passion, so don't judge me.
This is
Right.
Like,
a funny segue because that was a question I was going to ask you.
oh.
Is how you got into live streaming.
Oh yeah.
So I became a stream. I was working at a dermatology clinic for like 8 years. I'm a laser technician. I got bored. I was just like doing this for like 8 years, and then my husband at that time, ex now, obviously, and he's like, "You're so outgoing. Why don't you try streaming?" And I'm like, "What's streaming?" Like, I never followed Twitch. I never did any of that. So he's like, "Just play a video game and see if you like it."
Mhm.
And I tried it while I was working. I still had my job. Like, this is the one thing I say: if you want to be a streamer, like, still keep your job. Don't just quit. Like,
Yeah.
you want to
Right.
try it out and see if you like it or not. So I ended up becoming a streamer, playing Heroes of the Storm because I was very competitive, and I tried that game from Blizzard, and I played that game for like 7 years only. And I loved streaming since day one. Like, I had people coming into my chat talking to me, and yeah, that's how it began with
That was
Blizzard.
the wild thing about me discovering you because I found you on Twitter and you would tweet about Final Fantasy and your stuff a lot. And then I remember
Mhm.
visiting your stream several years ago and being like,
She streams a lot.
she's not playing Final Fantasy
Yeah.
though. And then I
Yeah.
Yeah.
remember when you made that transition
It
into,
was hard.
yeah, but I was like, it feels like it's been super worthwhile for you in the long run. So I'm curious how
Yep.
that process went for you.
So, like, streaming HOTS for like 7 years, I had this community of just Heroes of the Storm and Blizzard people, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, this isn't getting me numbers. The pro scene is gone. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna grow as a streamer. So then I'm like, why don't I just stream my passions, which was Final Fantasy and JRPGs. And then I took a chance by kind of streaming hot still, but leaning into more like JRPGs into my stream. And then I lost numbers more. I lost subs. But then
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm still gonna try it. And then I completely quit it. And then I grew my own community with meeting new people, but still have, some people sticking around from back in the day. And you just gotta take chances. You can't play a game where it's gonna get you nowhere and you're not happy with it because it was toxic. I'm just gonna say that straight
Yeah.
up. It was the toxic
Mhm.
community. So
It's been really cool to see that change for you because you inspired me a lot because I partnered on Twitch and went full time off an MMO, Elder Scrolls Online.
oh,
And that was exclusively the only thing I streamed. And everyone knew Final Fantasy games were my favorite, but I was
yeah.
exclusively playing the Elder Scrolls games and like that stuff. Um, and I
Huh.
remember like when I dropped it, I went through that. Like I had the loss of people and I started my like change of everything playing Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
And being like, well, this is what I love. And it did slowly grow. And now it's like the same sort of similar thing. And it was really cool because I remember looking at you doing it like at that time also. And I was kind of like, well, look at this. And then you were doing 14 for a while, and like
Yeah, that was
so
big.
many people were loving you doing that, and it was so fun to like see that, and it was really cool, and it's really reassuring, I think, that like if you're really passionate about something, people will see that,
Yes.
you
Yes,
know.
I've always been the type to like stream a game that you're happy with. Like Heroes of the Storm, it wasn't even that popular. Like it was a game that I enjoyed because I like Blizzard. Like I like all
Mhm.
the characters from like the Blizzard games, and like my brothers love that stuff, and that's what I played. And then I'm like, "Oh, I'm playing a Final Fantasy game. I think it would bore people." Like that was my mentality. When I
Yeah,
went into streaming, I'm like, "Who's going to watch me play a story game?"
right.
Like, and that was my thing. And then I'm just like, "You know what? I think it's a sign. Pro scene is gone. This community is toxic, and I just want to switch to like what I love." And I took a chance,
I'm glad you
and
Yeah,
I'm glad. I'm
I'm glad.
glad I did it.
I have
I
2 on.
wouldn't even know you guys. I wouldn't
That's
know y'all
true.
if
Yeah, it's
I
true.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
If I hadn't
What
listened
made
to your
wait,
show.
what made you guys into
Oh.
a streamer? I really need to know this too. If it
Um,
ask me, I gotta
yeah,
ask you.
you can okay, that's fair. I will tell mine. Actually, it's relevant because my 9-year anniversary is on Thursday, which is really weird to me. Yeah,
9
9
years.
years. So, I went back to school um about 10 years ago, and I had a job at a coffee shop, but I felt like I was not really doing as much as I used to because
Mm.
when I was in college, I was constantly working. I worked a couple different jobs to get myself through school. I was always working on film projects. I went to school for film, and I was really involved in the punk rock music scene in Philadelphia. And so I went from like this fast paced life to having nothing, and I didn't really have a creative outlet anymore. And I came across Twitch through Twitch Plays Pokemon.
Oh my god, that's how I
Oh.
found Twitch.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. I've been discovering a lot of people who found it that way. So it's
Yeah.
Twitch Plays Pokemon, and then like a few months later, there was the fish that was playing Street Fighter. It was
Mhm.
like based on where it was on the screen. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. But then in December of 2014, Final Fantasy month started. So there were two creators, Crumps2 and Sarith. They started to play through all the Final Fantasy games in a row. And it had a Kotaku article. And every time I had gone to Twitch, like anytime I saw a chat, I never thought to look at Final Fantasy. I just looked at those things. The chat was so busy. I was like, oh, I didn't even think community was a thing. Um, as soon as I went to these channels, there was a community. People were talking about Final Fantasy, and I felt so inspired. At that point in time, there were quite a few of the titles I hadn't played. A lot of them were the older ones. And so I did it too, where I started to play through every single one in a row. And that was it. Like, that was just my inspiration. I met a lot of really cool people. Then I got into speed running, and then the next thing I knew, I was pregnant. so so that was it. And that's
Oh, that's awesome.
it took time. It wasn't like I was pregnant in 6 months or anything, but yeah. So,
Yeah.
how about you,
Oh,
D?
that's sweet. How about you, Dia?
I got into stream I was watching Twitch with Twitch Plays Pokemon, and that was when I, like, started watching it, and I was a viewer, and I kinda would pop around and, like, watch a bunch of different people. I didn't start myself until 2018, so I came on a little later, because I had been hanging out in a bunch of communities, and it was, like, around the time that I started doing Instagram kinda seriously, and that was blowing up, and a lot of people that I was, like, working with and doing, like, sponsored posts with were like, "Do you live stream? Do you live stream?" And I'm like, "No," and I had made friends in the community that were like, "You really should, you really should." And I had plans on it, and I didn't have a PC good enough for it, and I was kinda like, later, later, later." And then I went through, like, a bunch of unfortunate things at one time. I had, my, like, closest pet that I had ever had, pass, and then had a breakup with like my boyfriend of several years. And it was like it wasn't something I expected. It was like a pretty awful, like traumatic thing. So I was like, it was my life kind of changed. I had like lost a ton of friends and I'm like, I need something. I need a hobby. I need an outlet like now. And I went and I just built a PC on like a whim at Micro Center, just grabbed a bunch of things and was like, let's do this. And built this PC myself, and I was like, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it." And I just started streaming random Nintendo games, and then kinda leaned into, like, horror games because those were the streams I liked to hang out in, so I did, like, a lot of Resident Evil, Dead by Daylight, and that kinda thing, and then never took it seriously, so I would, like, go and kinda quit and start up over and over again over the years. I was definitely a hobby streamer, and then it wasn't until I started to get really bad burnout with COVID. I was a nurse. So, like, working the pandemic, I started like, balancing my own I have a chronic illness, so, like, balancing that with, like, the just general COVID burnout. I was like, I think I needed streaming as, like, my safe bubble away from the world, and then I started to realize, like, "Hey, my health's deteriorating. I need another career, and, like, this is something that I've kind of built up over time. I should pursue this." And it just kind of aligned with like me playing Elder Scrolls Online and blowing up with that game. And I just kind of ran with it and didn't actually end up going full time until 2022 because like I
Mhm.
was one of those people where it's scary to make the jump to
Yeah.
doing content full time. It's definitely I wanted to like make sure I was good. I could pay all my bills. I was making more doing that. And like I was
Yeah.
very cautious. So it took me a long time to actually do it. But yeah, I left ESO and I had to like rebuild my community. And it wasn't until I started trying other things and variety that I was like, I feel confident enough in
Mhm.
doing it. And now it's like, can't
Mhm.
imagine my life without it. I wouldn't know you
Same.
ladies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a big part of your life. Like the one day, like I was supposed to stream today, and the one day off, I'm like, I should be streaming. I miss my
Yeah.
community, but I'm like, I need to self care. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure everyone, understands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I did
But
this offline because I think it's better.
Yeah, it is. No interruptions too. So yeah,
Hmm.
good on you for that.
no
Yeah.
more. Did Sephiroth do this? Beast community picks the funniest times to play that alert. I love it so much.
Yeah, they played it
Shadow
when
Point.
the era thing happened. Yeah,
I love them.
it's great. What is your favorite thing about the Final Fantasy community? Because that sense of
Hmm.
humor for me, 100%.
Mm, honestly, I would say nostalgia. I'm more about like back in the day and talking about all about the old school Final Fantasy stuff. Like I could talk all Final Fantasy, but when it cuts down to like talking about 4 or 6 or 7, 8, like 9, whatever, like those are the times where I like just won't stop shutting up. Like I'll just like that's
Mhm.
what makes me feel happy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like obviously the newer ones are good too, but I feel like it reminds me of my family when I'm talking about that kind of stuff and it's very warm and comfortable.
Mhm.
Um
I
fan art.
ooh,
Oh,
the
yeah.
artists in general, the
I
creatives.
like the fan art. Like I've been seeing there's this one person I follow, they do all Final Fantasy 6 fan art and I
Ooh,
see Terra, like it's really beautiful too and I'm just like I could watch their posts every day.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Like imaginary stuff too. Like I see Tara with like Edgar and I'm like, "Oh my god, they've been like my I don't know. They're like my couple if they were to ever be a couple." And like just random stuff
Mhm.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, it's and this is gonna sound silly because we see so much negativity, but I'm always a believer that, like, the loudest voices are the negative ones, and that's a
Mm.
minority.
Mhm.
Mm.
For me, it's been like, a lifelong, like, camaraderie thing and of kindness. I mean, I even see this like, I was someone who streamed a lot of, like, not streamed, but played a lot of Blizzard games myself, like, World of Warcraft
Mhm.
was a big part of my life,
Mhm.
and going from, like, that to Final Fantasy I played Final Fantasy 11, and that was kind of like a game where I felt like I really found myself in an MMO fan, and then
Mhm.
kinda went to WoW and these other games, there was a lot more toxic and a lot more vicious on the internet, and then going to Final Fantasy 14, I was like, "Wait, people are really nice."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of where my experience was even as a kid. Like, I didn't have a lot of friends who played Final Fantasy, but when I met people, especially, like, in school and stuff, if I said I liked video games, I would get crap for it because I was a girl, but if I found a couple people that liked Final Fantasy, they never complained that I was a girl.
Mhm.
They were like,
Mhm.
"Oh, cool, let's talk about Final Fantasy 8," and and it was like, "Whoa." So I think even on Twitch, it was like a lifelong kind of feeling of always connecting with people who just share the joy and passion for it, and I haven't really
Mhm.
found that with other franchises quite as concentrated. Like, I love Dragon Warrior, but if I boot it up for stream, there's gonna be a lot less people coming in and just being excited about it than there
Yeah.
would be with FF. Like, it just is a different kind of enthusiasm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then my final question is, what is some advice you have to impart on creators that want to have their channels focus on Final Fantasy? I know that one's a little bit tougher, huh?
What should I? Oh, that is a tough one.
I can give mine because mine
Yeah,
is
what's
to not
yours?
not focus on just Final Fantasy. Don't niche yourself in because you're gonna
Mm,
Yeah.
end up frustrated at some point with the series. Try other games.
variety.
It'll
Yeah.
always come back to Final Fantasy. Even when I'm
Mhm.
not playing it, it still comes up. Like people know that I love it,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
See, I
yeah,
like that answer. That makes. Can I copy that?
you can.
No, that's perfect because like I'm all focused on Final Fantasy, like with my collection and everything. But then when I'm playing other games, it's always nice to have people coming in and still talking like some Final Fantasy with like questions and stuff.
Yeah,
But
no,
I can still explore like other franchises and series and stuff, while I don't have to be so burnt out with Final Fantasy because you burn yourself out
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
playing one series. Like it was really weird though when I played Heroes of the Storm for like 7+ years. I never felt burnt out because it was competitive and it was always different.
Yeah.
yeah,
Different groups, different people you're up against, very challenging, whatever. But with Final Fantasy, you know what happens to the story. Like all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's good to mix it up.
yeah.
So
I
I
think I would add, sorry, really
Go
quick.
ahead.
I would
yeah.
add, don't play everything the way you want to play it. And that probably is
Hmm.
applicable to so many things. But I see so many streamers go into Final Fantasy playthroughs for the first time and they're like at the mercy of their chat and they're in Final Fantasy 8 and they're running from every fight because that's what people told them the meta for the game was.
Mm,
And I'm
Oh yeah,
yeah.
like, just play these games the way you want to play them. I have those discussions with people to this day. They're like, well, you should know better. You've played it before. That's not the way to do it. And it's like, who who cares? I've seen Yuna have this conversation where people are like, "Oh, you need to grind," and Yuna's like, "No, you could beat this at a low level if you know the strategy. Like, just
yeah,
shut up."
That word is auto-modded in my chat.
No way.
Oh yeah, you have to say farm or farming, farmy, whatever you want to say. Say it in a cute way. You don't say grind anymore. Cause I got it so much, and
Oh my god,
when I
I get
played
that.
when I played Final Fantasy 8, I did a no limit run. And people came into chat and they're just like, "Why aren't you using your limits? Why aren't you like?" And because this is a self run for me that I want to challenge.
yep,
You know what
Right.
I mean? Like play the way you want to play. If people come in and expect you to play they want to play, then like get out of here. Sorry.
Mhm.
Like I want to be nice to everyone that's welcoming, but like don't tell me how to play. I'm the streamer.
Right. Right.
Not you. You come hang out.
People
plus
love
You
like
know?
tell people how to play. They
a
love
lot of
it.
these games, I just honestly, I don't know how I got through them, but I did as a kid. So you
Mhm.
don't need the perfect strats to
Yeah.
like beat the game. Sometimes you can just literally hit attack. It's, you just do whatever you want. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some people really try to police certain things and I'm like, you can go you can go play the game yourself.
I love
Yeah.
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're too under leveled, you can't do it. And I'm just like, have you heard about strategy? Do you know
Right?
what strategy means?
No.
You don't need to be over leveled or whatever, even the same level, whatever, to beat the game. You can be under leveled and know the strat.
They don't think speedrunners exist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. And anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Dee, do you got any good questions you want to ask before we?
I feel like we covered so much.
I think we did.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
I
Was it
appreciate you.
Quent or Wark?
Oh yeah.
Quin or Wark?
I always say que,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but
It really
Wark
was.
works.
It was only
Like
Wark in 7, right?
7. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I think. I remember 7 being Wark, but
Maybe 8.
I like them both, but they're
me
interchangeable
too.
for
I
me. I go
feel
through phases.
like Wark is more aesthetically pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
But Que feels right.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense, but it does
That
up
makes
here.
sense to me.
So,
It makes sense. And
anyways,
Hojo.
yes, and Hojo. I was gonna just say we're on the same wavelength here.
We need to Hojo.
We gotta
All
do a
3 of us.
Hojo thing. We gotta do it to
Let's
get
do
ready.
a Hojo thing.
Yeah, I love this idea. So, anyways, is
I'm
there
available.
anything you all want to promote? I don't have anything other than Rebirth is coming out and I'm going to go hide in a hole on YouTube for a while.
Yeah. That's where I'll be streaming that as well as YouTube
Yeah.
to kind of hide from a lot of the traffic.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
should try that sometime, trying YouTube.
I
I haven't
just-
tried it once.
I just want it to be a little more intimate so I can kind of know life it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't really have much
I'm
happening.
just on Twitch and Instagram. I don't really do TikTok. And Twitter obviously, but like I'm gonna be staying away from Twitter a
I don't
lot.
blame you.
Yeah.
I've been trying to now. It's like starting now, but I just post when I go live or like post like a Final Fantasy collectible or something. But Twitch mainly and Instagram. Yunalescka. Yunalescka games. That's it now.
All right.
Someone has taken Yunalescka and they won't give it to me, and he hasn't tweeted in like 5 years.
That's always how it works. It's always that
Yeah.
one person. I found out that Sephiroth is a handle that is taken by somebody who's super into cryptocurrency, who hasn't
God.
tweeted in like 3 years. I was like, what, man? Like, okay.
That's like the 8-bit-D on YouTube. Like I'm the 8-bit-D on YouTube because this other
Mhm.
person is 8-bit-D, but they don't do like any like original content. They just kind of take other people's stuff and upload it.
Well,
Oh,
that's not nice.
And I'm like, can I just have my username?
Yeah, you just
Right?
want the name.
Like if you type 8-bit-D into YouTube, I come up, not them. So
Yeah.
just let me drop the.
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah. Tough
Right.
life out here.
All right, I'm gonna.
Oh, this was fun, ladies.
This was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for
I
doing
appreciate
this.
you both so much.
I appreciate
appreciate you both.
you.
So much.
It's
We
You
need
are
to do this
in my
more. We need
circle,
like a little
heart circle.
monthly.
I think that'd be
thing.
fun. Like,
am.
whenever you guys want to just chat about random stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, post
Anytime.
Rebirth, we could definitely do a little chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are
And
going to be
pre-Rebirth.
curious to see like how we react, right? Because
Yes.
I hear so often that we're the 3 opinions that people really take value. So
Yeah.
it would be cool. To
Oh,
kind of-
I got another question. Who are you
Yeah.
all going to take on the gold saucer date?
Oh. I mean,
Tifa. And
yeah.
if I can, I would love to take Zach.
Oh,
I mean,
I love Zach more than Cloud. I'm gonna say that now. People can hate on me. I don't care.
oh,
I know a
I
lot of
love
people
Zach.
who share
I
that
love
opinion.
Zach. He is like juicy and like
juicy.
he's
Juicy was not the word I
juicy
expected.
and like dark hair, and he's just like goofy and fun.
He's got
He's
nice
not like all
eyes.
serious. I don't know, nice eyes and nice like, everything.
I love
But
it.
but Tifa for sure number 1. I don't know. I just
Barrett.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
I can't. I'm
Yeah.
so mad because that's my favorite and that's what I want.
Heck
Okay.
yeah.
I'm going to try and take red.
Oh my god, if I could take red, then I would.
If I could take red,
Adorable.
it'll probably be Barrett otherwise, or maybe Kate Sith.
I was about to say, I was about to be like,
If Vincent, but I feel like there's no way that you'll have Vincent long enough to be able to make that happen because that's pretty much right around that time.
Yeah, you got to make that.
But
Well, we don't know. We don't know how it's going to be.
Or like
yeah.
Madame M.
Oh my god. Yeah.
She would give you like a hand massage on like on their date, like just
Reno.
ooh. Oh, now we're
Oh,
bringing out more juicy
hmm
characters. Mm-mm.
I mean, I'd rather have Rude, but whatever.
Put
Dude's awesome too.
Tifa and Rude on the gondola. Cloud can just
Okay.
go in a corner.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm down for that too.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, if I could leave Cloud behind, best scenario.
Oh,
Cloud
dang.
may leave us behind. I'm gonna say that. I mean, I don't obviously I don't know anything, but that's
Yeah.
just the theory in my head. I don't know.
Wait,
All these theories.
wait. What's your biggest FF7 rebirth theory? This might be fun to
I
look
think
back on.
I think Cloud might take the spot and die instead of Aerith
I'm kind of thinking that might be a thing too.
Yeah.
because or Zach might come in and take the hit, but it's I feel like it's gonna be one of those two, but maybe more Cloud because maybe it's Zach's turn to take the
Yeah.
spotlight.
Hmm.
I don't know. The timeline thing is all
I
crazy.
think there's a lot to in the original data of the game, the original, that suggests that it was intended for Aerith to
Mm,
meet that scene later.
mm,
And
Hmm.
there's actually, like, if you look at that scene, the way it's shot, there's evidence of that too, that there's
yeah,
changes in the way the cutscene even is.
yeah,
Um, so I feel like that may be the move, like, they may move it. So you're gonna have that happen and be like, "Oh, okay, it didn't happen," and then they're gonna be like, "Just kidding," later down the line or in the
yeah,
next game.
yeah, yeah.
I can't see it happening exactly this. It's not gonna it's like, there's no way. I mean,
No,
I'll eat my Kate Sith here if I'm wrong, but there's no way it
I'd
goes
pay
down
for
the same
that.
way.
Oh
There's no way it goes down exactly the same way.
no,
Absolutely
it
not.
won't.
I
Even
think we
I
probably
even
won't
said to
know. I
oh,
think
go
it'll
ahead.
probably be also kind of like a cliffhanger of like we're not sure anyways.
Yeah.
Got to get that
Or Aerith
buzz.
might die in the last one, in the last game.
I think
I
no
feel like
matter
if they
what,
don't,
she'll
yeah,
die.
they can't keep her alive. I feel like I love Aerith, but like if they keep her alive, it changes so
It
much. But
has
then
an
again, it is a
emotional
new
impact.
game.
Yeah.
Is
That's the thing. The game is about grief.
Right.
And
yeah,
so,
And yeah.
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 Maybe
Well,
we're gonna be grieving over someone else.
Yeah.
I don't want that though. Yeah, I don't.
I don't wanna change that because that's like Sakaguchi's whole thing with 7 was to base it on like, was going through the loss of his mother and, like, the process of grief and giving meaning to
Yeah,
life after death. And
yeah,
I feel like if you change too much about that, you're gonna take that core message away, and that kinda
yeah,
that I think is the spirit of what that game is, so that would kill me a bit.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to look back on this then.
Yeah, it'd be fun to come back here and see who is closest.
We're probably way off, and it's like
Yeah,
completely so different.
I'll be eating this.
Get a
Aerith is
dinner
gonna like
plate
move
ready.
away. She's gonna like debate him, and he's gonna like miss and
She'll
stab
hit him with a
himself. I don't
chair.
know. Yeah, with a chair.
Oh my
And then
gosh, yeah. Or Sephiroth hits Sephiroth because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
yeah, something with those whispers too in the background.
Oh, true.
Mhm.
Something's gonna happen there. Anyway, I
Yes.
guess
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah, we could talk about that for days. Anyways, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm
Thank you.
gonna end the recording here.